Hey, welcome to day 2 of season 3 for Hydrocore League. I'm Flarewing,
And I'm Flornix.
and this is our second day of casting. We actually have a double header today. So, first game is actually going to be one team that we are very familiar with, and then our team that we are not so familiar with. This is Mi5fit Gaming versus Unleashed eSports, and the second game, I believe, was Tidal versus Breakpoint.
No, it's Tidal Break Exodus.
Oh, okay, and that's why I have Flornix here, because she's much smarter than me. So, we had Midas actually joining us for the analyst desk yesterday, and I believe he'll be back for game 2. But until then, yeah, he's actually playing in game 1, so you absolutely cannot have him here at the same time. But this first game is going to be pretty exciting. So Mi5fit is a team we've seen a lot of. Mi5fit was actually in season 1 and 2 of Hydrocore League, and we have a pretty good relationship with these guys. We've actually played against them quite a bit as well in our competitive Siege history. They're a very, very solid team, and I believe they made it to playoffs both season 1 and 2. And
hmm
do you want to kind of go over their like win-loss last season?
Yeah, last played 7 games total, and they won 5 of those games. And they actually made it to top 3 in the season 2 playoffs. And the team that they actually lost to ended up winning the entire season 2. So it's not like that bad.
Yeah, and I've said it in the past. If I'm going to lose to a team, I would like it to be the team that actually wins overall. It just feels a little bit better. But either way, 5 out of 7 in a win-loss is nuts. And then going to the playoffs, and then ultimately losing to a team that wins everything. I mean, that's a really, really good score to take. So, team we've seen a lot of. Unleashed, on the other hand, we don't really have any experience with. So, forgive me for not talking more about them, but we really can't. So this is always a fun part of the season when you see a team that you're with versus a team that you are not experienced with. Uh, you don't really know what to expect. You can have an idea out of team 1 per se, but not out of that team 2. And in a lot of ways, for us as casters, as analysts, that second team, that mystery team, is kind of what sets the pace for us, because we, like I said, we know what Mi5fit is kind of going to do. We kind of know how they think. Unleashed, total wild card here. So it's always very, very fun to see that. But I would like to go over yesterday's game. And we had a really, really solid game yesterday. It was, Venacity and Chai. Now, Chai was one that also returned from last season. They had a kind of a rough going last season, but going over to this season, it was really, really solid so far. A really, really solid start. They did end up losing 7-4, but if you take that from what we saw of them last season, they did get 7-0 twice, back to back. So them coming up this season and losing 4-7, it still feels rough. But from my point of view, watching these guys and seeing them grow, that is awesome, because that shows that they have room to go. They haven't met that ceiling yet. And honestly, if they're able to go from where they were last season to where they are yesterday, that means that ceiling has a lot of room to climb. So it is really, really awesome to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, seeing Chai play last night, like the way that they played was so much better than before. Like even though they lost, I still feel like they've improved a lot. And it's nice seeing like recurring or teams coming back from other seasons. And so I'm really excited to see how Mi5fit does. It
Now,
looks like they started map bans right now.
they have. Mi5fit has actually banned out Cafe Dostoevsky, and Alicia's banned out Villa. I wouldn't be surprised to see these bans start going pretty fast. Something I do kind of want to point out for anyone that's watching, maybe a little confused. I am not Flornix, and she is not Mi5fit Midas. She is actually Flornix, and I am Flarewing. This is not our normal analyst desk. It will not be our normal analyst desk, but it's just a little mishap we're having. But so ignore that. But these bans are starting to go pretty quick. It's down to
No.
Clubhouse and Coastline. And
Oh wow.
actually, it looks like we're going to Clubhouse. And Mi5fit made that decision. And from what we know about Mi5fit, I'm not surprised in the slightest. They're a very, very solid Clubhouse team. They're going to be starting on attack with Unleashed starting on defense. But I'm sure Mi5fit's not too worried about that. They are very, very experienced in Clubhouse. They are a solid Clubhouse team. So I'm very, very excited to see what Unleashed can bring to the table to throw them off their feet. If you want to give us a couple, maybe a few minutes and get these teams ready, we're gonna go to a wait screen real quick, and we're gonna see if we can get these teams set up as this game going for you guys.
I can picture what you're thinking of. My imagination's not enough. Oh, no, it's not safe to say what you're always looking for. Hey, someone to make you feel like. Don't wanna think of all the who's that you can pick and choose for. I wanna make you feel like. Talk about us like you want it. Stop talking like, ooh, we ain't lost it. You don't seem to know, ooh, oh, you're in cruise control. Don't wanna think of all the rules that you can pick and choose for. I wanna make you feel like you talk about us like you want it. Stop talking like, ooh, we ain't lost it. You don't seem to know, ooh, oh, you're in cruise control.
All right, we are back. And I just want to point out again, this is game 1 of 2 today. This is Unleashed Esports versus Mi5fit Gaming. This should be a really, really good game.
Yeah, totally. Hey, Z Kiwi here, stepping in for Midas Casting, seeing since he's actually playing today against Unleashed. As has been noted in the chat, this is a very highly anticipated game. We've seen Mi5fit since season 1 of HydroCore League, and they have been a very tough contender. So I've got a lot of high hopes and expectations for Mi5fit. But what I've seen and heard from Unleashed thus far has my expectations for them pretty sky high as well.
Yeah, this should be a very, very good game. I'm really excited to watch this one play through. And as we've always seen, hi Sparky's mom. Sparky's the team mom. Sparky's mom, sorry, is the team mom for Mi5fit Gaming. This carried all the way through last season, and will, I'm sure, carry on until this team is just no more at some point in time. Either way, first ban coming out is Thatcher. Unleash banning out Thatcher, and that's really, really to be expected on almost every single map in this entire game. And probably will be until something drastically changes. Thatcher is such an oppressive operator. With Mi5fit banning out Montaigne, and some people might say Montaigne is like a crutch ban, you know, you just don't want to deal with them. But on Clubhouse specifically, Montaigne and Blitz can be awful to deal with. When you're trying to do something like defend CCTV and you're worried about that that garage hold, you know, a shield player can completely ignore a lot and actually just walk all the way up catwalk stairs and just take control of catwalk with really nothing to stop them. Flashbang coming out as well, showing Misfit just doesn't want to deal with shields at all. And then Kaid ban being banned. Kaid ban happening, sorry, when you ban Thatcher just makes sense. Because if you don't have a Thatcher, you don't want to deal with Kaid.
That's true. That is true. Of course, there are alternatives to be able to deal with Kaid, given there is no Thatcher, but it is still a pain in the butt to deal with. And I was also going to make note, they definitely don't like shields. Much to say most people in Siege don't, for the simple fact that you've got to be very on your game as far as how to deal with it, both on attack and defender side. So not surprised. Well, I actually kind of am surprised to see 2 shields out, but I can understand why that is. Also, I would also like to say what's up to Sparky's mom. You've been a huge fan of Mi5fit, and I'm sure you're in that chat somewhere. But
yeah, we're going to CCTV as the first site. No surprise there. This is a very, very common and popular first site. A lot of people really like to start here and kind of set the pace. This is really known to be a very strong comfort site for a lot of teams. And it can always be good to set. Kind of get an idea, you know, are they aggressive? Are they slow? Are they methodical? Do they drone a lot? Do they not drone a lot? There's so much information you can gain in the very start of this round. So CCTV is a great one to really just gauge all of that. Now, the operator lineup, I'm really excited to see. You know, we don't have any actual wall denial from Unleashed, which is very, very interesting. Usually you'll see a mute or a bandit here. And none of the wall deniers other than Kaid are banned out. But we do see a lot to slow them. So this is definitely going to be a utility burn meta from Unleashed that, you know, could work out for them if they can make it work out.
You know, you definitely see Wamai's up there trying to put a hard stop on that catwalk in garage. Doesn't look like they're doing anything pretty significant, except Abana's opening up those angles down in garage to try to put a little bit of contest and some pressure on that Wamai on catwalk in garage right now. And it does look like, yep, there it goes. We got breach on CCTV.
Now, this was a very, very fast open on that CC wall. But again, you can't really say against the credit of Unleashed. They didn't have any wall denial. So, I mean, if the wall didn't get open fast, that'd have been just poor play on this Misfit. And so, it's kind of expected to see it happen. Oops, coming into the very first kill of the game, she takes out Sean. And, you know, really setting the pace, especially as Nomad, that's great. Usually that's your flank watch operator. When you have your flank watch player coming live and just leading the pace with that first kill, awesome. Awesome work. And so, I mean, great job from her. She has been a very experienced player. She has a lot of time on this player, on this Nomad, specifically playing this role for Misfit. So, and she's done a lot of good work actually getting better from there. Now, Jacob, on the other hand, really doing a lot of work trying to hold down this garage. And it looks like he's about to get pushed out hard. And he gets pushed out very, very hard by Midas, taking him out. And now they've got full garage control. Cryzon taking some hits as well. These players in Misfit are trying to get in. They're trying to get in fast. And they are making short work. They're really, really showing that they know how to play Clubhouse. And what I said earlier on about, I'm sure Misfit is excited right now, getting to go to Clubhouse, not caring that they're starting on attack at all, even though this is a defender-sided map. This is why. This is why. They know how to play this map. They have so much history on it. And Unleashed being a new team, never playing them, it could be different for Misfit going after this. Again, this is round 1. This is where you test your enemy. So this is where Unleashed gets to see how Misfit plays this, and they play very meta. They're very, very meta heavy. And I honestly have to say, you know, even though there's a Maverick on the board, I would have liked to see a little more to stop Misfit from getting in, but it doesn't matter. Sparky picks up 2, and Deadly gets the final kill of the round. We have a flawless round 1 for Misfit.
Good night. So much pressure. I felt so bad for that Wamai during the course of that entire round. There's flame bolts flying, bullets going everywhere, angles open on every single side. Like, that poor Wamai. There was so much pressure. That was crazy. Really solid round by Misfit. Way to open up the game here. And I mean, I have a very strong feeling that that's what it's going to be like the course of the rest of this game. But I still have hopes for what Unleashed pulls out going into round 2. Looks like they're going back to CCTV cache. So let's see if they can pull out some tricks. Looks like the lineups are relatively the same. Let's see if they can do a little bit better here on defense in round 2.
Yeah, and I'm really interested. A lot of times what you will see when you see a team go from one site and then just stay there,
Attackers need to locate and
generally
defuse
what
the
their
bomb.
kind of mindset is we lost this site and we feel like we know why and we feel like it's our fault. So generally when a team goes back to the exact same site, they're blaming themselves in some way and they're saying, we screwed up somewhere. Let's go back and let's not screw up there. Let's fix it. And as he stated, that will not. Jacob, over on this catwalk, trying to watch this catwalk and trying to stop them from taking this garage. That Wamai is in a
10 seconds.
do or die position, more or less. He can't really run too well as long as the attacking team is doing their job properly, which Misfit was. So his position is kind of hold them off for as long as humanly possible. He's not really expected to survive there, as morbid as that sounds. He's expected to hold that for as long as humanly possible. It's hard to say he didn't do his job. I mean, I would argue that he kind of did do his job as well as he honestly could. But Misfit was prepared for that, because that is the meta thing to do. Now, again, there's nothing stopping Misfit from taking this, but even if it did, it's hard to say it would have mattered with, there being a Maverick on the board. So they're just going to get the ball up and very, very quickly, and then get back to doing everything they need to do. And this is where I said I would like to see them stop them a little bit more. Mad Dog actually going off the board now. Losing a Habana could be very, very good. That's your only range Harbinger, and now Oops is having some issues as well, trying to clear through. And last time she got the opening kill, but I think she might be in a little bit of surprise here, as Sean is actually ready for it, just waiting. But I believe she's actually falling back now, trying to go somewhere else. Sparky and Deadly picking up kills, and Killshot and Jacob now we're to 3v4. Back to main advantage over on Misfit. And Sean's still waiting here as he picks off Oops now. Back to that 3v3. He equalizes it for them. He may have another one coming up, though. There's another player on those blue stairs trying to wait him out. They're trying to see if any of them are going to give each other something here, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Actually, I believe Sean is actually falling off of this now and going to go to support his team in a different way. Now, 3v3 still. But we still have half the round to go, so this could be fine. We do have a player. It looks like Misfit has actually gained control of Catwalk completely, as they were able to take out Jacob. Sean getting his second kill for the round, taking out Deadly now. It's off to Sparky and Misfit. You've got the team captain, and Sparky, we've known, can take fights. We know he can frag out. Question is he going to do it today? Is he going to do it right now in this round? He already has 3 kills. He's the kill leader on the board right now. I believe he can pull this off. Question is, will Unleashed give him the opportunity to do this? This is Unleashed round to lose right now. They're in position to take this. There's still a minute on the board. Misfit has time, and they still have 2 drones in their pockets. They have the ability to pull this off. It looks like they're trying to find their opening here. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a catwalk and CC wall push, though. They've got that Rooney gate cleared out. Now it's going to be a matter of pushing for this default plant. As you see these one-way smokes coming up, and this is a very, very good way to do it. Midas coming through, doing some pre-fire over on top, those top stairs. And Sparky taking some fire actually from the garage now. He's got a lot to worry about on this catwalk position. And this is quite a very hard position to hold right now, as they're trying to worry about so many angles. They're trying to worry about that lobby push. They're trying to worry about cash, because there's cash players, and they're going to have to cover this plant as C4s come out. And this could be very, very bad. And it is bad, but it actually takes on Sparky, the SMG-11. We're going to get the final kill around, taking on Midas. That's a good round for Unleashed.
Very solid round. Down in the final 30 seconds of the round. Misfit did a really good job trying to pull back, but Unleashed was pretty solid there with that Aruni on those on blue stairs. Did a really, really good job of holding back that flank push. And Wamai actually did definitely do his job this go around, especially on catwalk. And I do agree, arguably he did it last round as well. But they pulled it together, figured out what they were doing wrong, and were able to capitalize on it in round 2. And ultimately, it's what got them the round. I mean, they had 3 dudes left standing at the end of round 2. So that was a really, really solid round on Unleashed. And it speaks to what the rest of this game is going to look like. It's going to be pretty close, what I can see so far.
And now we're actually going to basement. And we're seeing a couple of famous operator picks on the board here, and that is Mute and Mozzie. We don't see any 6 picks, and this is understandable. All the operators you see are all understandable in their own way. Mute and Mozzie, though, I want to highlight on. That is a famous duo. You can pretty much pull them on any site, and it's going to be obnoxious to deal with for the attacking side. As long as the attacking side is playing the way they should be and droning properly, then they're going to have a very bad time. Mozzie and Mute being able to stop these drones everywhere, being able to put this drone denial wherever they would like, is one of the most obnoxious things to deal with on the attacking team. I wouldn't be surprised to see a very, very solid amount of roam presence come out from Unleashed here. And with Mute and Mozzie backing each other up, putting these jammers and these pests around the map, not necessarily to try to stop the attackers from droning out sight, but to stop them from droning out the roamers that are probably going to be everywhere. Probably going to be trying to stop the attackers from getting ground anywhere without having to kill time. As you can actually see, you get players in the second floor right now. One of which being Mozzie, as I stated, for Rooney giving that Mozzie some little bit of wiggle around, you know, get some runaway positions. Now, we've got these attackers coming through, and they're going to come through, and they're trying to clear out cache, sorry. Now, they do seem wary that there are defenders up here to try to kill their time. Now, something I do want to highlight on, though, as well. These defenders do not need to pick up any kills. They don't need to do any damage at all. Actually, you'd see Warren doing just that. He shot a drone, he leaves. And that is ideal. That is great. That is peak, honestly, basement clubhouse roam play. They're shooting these drones, and they're leaving. The reason that is so good, Mi5fit doesn't know that they left. Mi5fit lost that drone, then the defender left. Now, because of this, Mi5fit has to go through all the work of getting another drone out there, or face check things, which means they're going to take a lot of time doing this. And I want to point out, they're clearing second floor. The site is in basement. When you lose time clearing a floor that, all things considered, doesn't matter for site execute, that is incredibly massive for the defenders. Because then they still have to clear that first floor site. They still have to gain control above the site itself. And that's where things start becoming critical. Now, they're opening up these hatches, and this hatch play on this map for this basic site is everything. Opening up this kitchen hatch is a massive thing to take control of.
Oh, and Mozzie with the denial. Okay, and Warren's going to fight it out in kitchen now. It's looking like he's going to be fighting Zofia, and, oh, well, there's that. With that, Zofia wins the gunfight. Dudley's going to take out Warren, but he did a really good job in denying that hard breach. So that is going to stop them from being able to take the hatch and kitchen. It's going to force them downstairs, which is really good job. Warren did a really good job in denying that hard breach and made the attackers' descent into site much more difficult. Oh, but here we do. We have some things going on right now. So it looks like Sean is going to take out... Oh, I didn't catch that. Sparky? I believe it was Sparky.
And actually, I want to point out, though, Ace actually managed to get that basement hatch open as well. He took 2 of his gadgets, but he did get it open. So they do have that option now. Now we're in a 2v2 situation. Kryzon takes out, oops, 2v2 here. Midas taking on Jacob. Top to Kryzon on this smoker. He has 2 canisters in his pocket. He can pull this off. He's done so far, done pretty well so far with that SMG-11 and that shotgun combo. But he's got to go through Deadly. He's got to go through Midas. And Deadly actually gets the kill through the wall. Right to the head. Great shot, Deadly. That's another round for Mi5fit, and so far, this is turning into a slugfest.
Yeah, that strafe was beautiful. Holding that angle, really solid job. I thought it was going to be a lot more difficult than it seemed to be for Mi5fit to get downstairs after Habana was taken out by Mozzie, but it seems they made pretty light work out of it after that disgustingly aggressive push onto site and just left death in its wake with... Mi5fit just taking complete site control and getting that diffuser down, leaving it at a 2-1 situation. Really good angles held, and it was just really solid. I believe they went down blue. Is that where they came through?
I honestly, I don't recall. I believe it was probably along the lines of blue, and they probably dropped that kitchen hatch. It's really hard to say, but they did actually plant in church, so I would not be surprised to say they came down main. They could have gone down blue and come through the bridge and wall. They could have gone down main and actually gone through Moto. Moto hatch was open up as well.
I see. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so if Moto hatch was open, that makes more sense of how they got into church and planted. So they're just trying to get another, line of sight in through kitchen hatch, but that wasn't enough. I thought they didn't have any hatches open, but that makes a lot more sense now.
Now, and something I would like to point out, there was kind of a make-or-break situation there is Warren on the Mozzie in that kitchen. Taking out the Habana was huge. That was such a big, massive play, especially with Habana not yet getting that kitchen hatch open. The only downside is what it was going to come down to, no matter what, was how long can Warren stay alive at this point? He can't leave. He's trapped there. He can't run anywhere. I mean, his only option is go outside. That's not going to happen. So it has to be a situation of he's going to hold on to Kitchen of his life, and he's going to fight the 2 people that are pushing in on him, which he ultimately lost, and which Kitchen Hatch ultimately got opened up. So, you know, had he lasted a little bit longer there, that whole round probably would have gone differently, but he didn't, and that's fine. It's understandable. I can't really put the blame on him. It's just to say that had it gone differently with Warren, that round almost certainly would have been won by Unleashed. But we're going back to basement again. And, you know, last time Unleashed lost second floor. They lost at CC site. They went back. They won. Let's see if they can pick it up and do the same thing on this basement. But what we need to see them do is not go 1 for 1 on these site wins losses. They need to pick up a site twice. But Mad Dog of Mi5fit, they actually played it out. They knew exactly what he was going to do. They knew what Hatch had dropped last time. They were waiting for him to drop just that. And they actually get a freebie by taking him out. Now, they're clearing through the second floor very, very quickly. And they're going through it and they're getting full first floor control. This is very different from last. Matter of can these final defenders hold on, because they are taking some hits and they're taking really bad hits. Jacob takes out Sparky, Deadly takes out Killshot, Deadly also takes out Sean. 2v3 situation now. Deadly is just going nuts. 6 kills already, 6 and 1. 3v2 situation. Chrysum and Jacob. Chrysum last time was alone in a very similar situation. Now, can these players hold on? Oops actually has this blue control, so they're going through. They're going to try to clear this out. 45 seconds. They have plenty of time. This is all the time you need to make something happen. Jacob evening the scoreline, taking out Deadly.
Nice.
But Mi5fit and Midas and Oops come through and they clear a house. Taking out Jacob and Chrysum at the same time. That is great, great work from these two.
That was an insane round, and it went so fast. It was like all the pieces on the board were in play, and it all fell together so seamlessly there in the last 45 seconds of the round. And it just Mi5fit's like, I feel like they're very surgical with that, playing the time so like just precisely down to the very final seconds of rounds, and just catching the other team off guard and capitalizing on moments of weakness, just brief lapses of like, oh, hey, you know, oh my God, they're pushing. And then it's absolute chaos. Like, it is just absolute chaos. And it's so precise. I love watching it. You love to see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is meta play. You know, we are moving away from, say, like the 20-second meta that we had within, you know, about 2 seasons ago, and realistically last season as well.
Yep.
But it's still there. I mean, it still exists. The defenders, their mindset is never going to change. The goal for the defenders will always be to just slow down the attackers as much as they can, so the attackers have as little time as possible to make it into sight. That is the main base goal for defenders. Obviously, they want to win. They want to kill the attackers. But the realistic goal is to just slow them down as much as humanly possible. That's why you bring utility. That's why you bring these Soria gates. That's why Smokes has smoke canisters. Why Lamai has the ability to catch gadgets. Jaeger exists in general and can't be nerfed enough. Warren having these explodable shields and being able to hold behind these shields. All of these defenders have some form of ability to slow the attackers one way or another. And so that is such a big thing. So having only a, 20 seconds is kind of the norm to move on. But Mi5fit having 45 seconds to move on and then all of a sudden they just collapse is huge. Especially when Killshot's skull gets collapsed by Mad Dog. That is a really, really rough start there. Now, we're in this 4v5 situation. Only 30 seconds was off the board, by the way, so that's a great start. You're using your Jaeger. Sure, his utility was put down, but losing a man that early is never good.
Oh, and you're right, 45 seconds in, losing arguably one of your roamers is just not a solid play at all. And to get taken out by Habana is it's another insult to injury right there. But still got 2 minutes left in the round. You know, we've got 4 operators still up on the board, full of health, so we'll see what happens.
Now, what I do like out of Mi5fit here, is they're doing this basement clear. They're actually going through on this blue side, and they're doing this consistently and actually coming up through basement. And they're trying to cut off everything. They're getting Oops through here so she can put up these air jabs. And they can just set it up to where no matter what Unleash does, when they try to stop Mi5fit from doing this final execute, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a good situation for them. They're going to have to do it in a very, very bad way. Now, a lot of these defenders are getting caught. They know where these defenders of Unleashed are, and they're in a very bad situation. Right now, Sean cannot go anywhere safely. But unless he pulls out his gun and he shoots everybody and makes it a safe path, which he's starting to do now, it does actually take out Sparky, a really good gunner, and Deadly getting taken out as well. These are two top gunners for Mi5fit. Oops is going to try to force a confrontation with Sean
looked away at the wrong time.
And Sean may not be aware.
What is happening?
But they love Oops gets the die. What just happened?
Oh, no.
Guys, what was that? Run it back. Fix it. Run it back.
That was insane.
Anyways, so 3v3 situation here, a little over 30 seconds on the board now. Jacob still has control of Catwalk though. This is the first time we've seen this out of the site. Jacob is lasting till the final 30 seconds, and this could be the nail in the coffin for Mi5fit in this round. This could be huge for Mi5fit in this round. He's clearing out that Catwalk player, trying to push any kind of plant. When that Catwalk player is alive, it's almost a death sentence. And you have to assume Mi5fit is going to try to do some kind of difference on the push. As you see, they're actually going to try to come through this CCTV window. I'm assuming Bias is probably just going to jump through and say screw it here, as he does. But he gets immediately shut down for it. It's coming out quick. Jacob tries and get the 2 final kills of the round. And very, very quick to end it. But that's the way I expected that to go. When you leave that Wamai up there in that Catwalk, it's going to be a bad time for the attackers.
That was a solid defense round for Unleashed. Unfortunately, it's not the 4-2, well, the potential 4-2 split you're looking for in a defense round. But they can lock it up, you know, here and bring it to a 3-3. I feel like they'd still be pretty comfortable going into attack, but they need to make it happen here. You definitely don't want to be at a 2-4 split and a disadvantage on defense.
Yeah, absolutely not. They need to win this round. You don't want to go into your attacking half and, as he said, and be on 2 rounds 1 after your defensive round. That is not a good situation to be in. They're going back to church, and this is something that, you know, we've seen them run it already. We've seen them run this basement site now. They kind of know how Mi5fit's gonna run it. But they're gonna give themselves a little bit of handicap. I guess they're feeling a little too confident. His kill shot almost catches a kill shot, and it takes a lot of damage. I'm assuming it was either Kryzm. I'm thinking it was Kryzm with that shotgun, but that is not a good way to start the round. Obviously it was an accident, unless he was probably just saying, hey man, you know, step it up, you're 1-5 right now. But either way, kill shot take a little bit of damage, so rough way to start it. Kill shot on the Arun. He's still gonna be able to do a lot of work here though. That's not stopping him. This makes your life a little bit harder later on in this round, because kill shot has been doing a little bit of roaming here.
Roaming with 25 HP in a dream.
That's all we need. That is all we need. Now, either way, though, you know, Killshot's looking up here. Still making some rotates for what they need. Question is, who's going to adapt better to the other team? Both of these teams have won the site, and Killshot's not careful. He's actually going to catch a breach charge. Oh, he was real close to that. That was a sketchy situation, but he makes it out alive, and technically doesn't take any damage. I know it looks wrong if you're just now joining in, but Killshot did not take any damage here. So, going in, he's now playing around this bar side, and that's fine. But he's going to take a fight very early, as Mad Dog actually wins it out and hits him in the head. But, honestly, had that situation been a little different, you know, it's hard to say it could have played out like that. Now, Killshot did get hit in the head, so he probably would have lost anyways. But Mad Dog, now being in this 2 HP situation, he's the one that gets shot through the head once, and it's over. Either way, Mi5fit knows that they've already won 3 of these attacking rounds. They're in a good position. If they win this, they're almost in a guaranteed win position, more or less, as long as they don't throw it on defense. But they still want to win this. Obviously, they want to pick this up, because even if they do lose it, though, they're still in a good position. They only needed, per se, to win 2 of these attacking rounds. So already having 3 is awesome for them. Now, going through, and they're getting short work of these hatches. As actually, as you see, we no longer have a Mozzie on this site. We have a Valkyrie.
Oh!
And that Valkyrie is very big. Oops taking some damage, Joe, but getting hit by an air jab is Sean. And Oops coming back around to give him the damage. Now we're in a 5v3 situation. This is not at all looking good for Unleashed. This is a very hard position to be in. Obviously, they've done some damage to Mad Dog and Oops, but at what cost? At what cost, you know? So, these players are coming through. Players of Mi5fit, they have been spotted out on these default cams, but it really doesn't matter when they've got so much control and 50 seconds to play with. They've got all the time in the world. This is Mi5fit's playground right now. So, and Warren coming through though, taking out Midas. That's the team captain that got off the board. Now, Midas is going to be able to get calls from the grave, and that's honestly a comfort position for him, I'm sure. So, 3v4 situation now. This is back to being a little more winnable for Unleash and less safe like that. Keeps happening. Mad Dog taking out Warren now. 2v4 situation. Jacob and Kryzem. This is again Kryzem alone in the situation. Never mind. He gets to be put to bed. Jacob alone. 1v4 situation, and never mind because Deadly comes through. Takes him out. That's a 2-4 split for Mi5fit's attacking half.
This is exactly the situation you don't want to be in going into the attack phase. I don't know what was going on with Unleashed that round, man. It seemed like they took fights that they should have won. They just couldn't finish. I don't know. They just weren't hitting right. They couldn't keep their shots on, but they either would take people by surprise or they'd get in fights with people, both with Habana and with the, I believe it was the Zofia or the Nomad there. Both of those fights should have been won, and it should have been largely opposite the situation that they were ultimately faced with later in that round. It just seemed like they weren't taking those rounds right. And here we are, exactly in the situation you don't want to be in. Now, not to say Unleashed is out of the fight just yet. Maybe they do better on their attack rounds here, and maybe it's just like an attack-sided border this or clubhouse this round, or this game. So we'll see. I don't know. I hope so for Unleashed sake.
And you never know, especially with the meta changing the way it has been. But statistically speaking, Clubhouse is still a defender-sided map. And if you're Unleashed right now, you've kind of got your back pushed up against the wall. You know, being 2-4, Mi5fit is 3 rounds away from closing this one out. Unleashed is 5 rounds away from closing this one out themselves. And it's something I would like to point out with how scorelines work in Hydrocore League. So there is no overtime. If it goes to a 6-6 split, both teams get 1 point. If a team wins, then the winning team gets 3 points and the losing team gets 0 points. So obviously you want to win. That's a granted. But if you're Unleashed, you need to at least push for that tie situation because it's hard to say Mi5fit won't pick up at least 2 more rounds. And I know that sounds negative. I know that sounds like really just a pessimistic way to say things. But I'm being blunt when I say that. I mean, it's just hard to see them picking up enough rounds right now because Mi5fit's on defense. Now, either way, what we do see from Mi5fit is a nuke and a bandit on CCTV. We never saw a denier come from Unleashed on this site, and because of that, Mi5fit was able to get so much control so fast.
Oh,
but
no!
It doesn't really matter. Oops comes through and gets a free kill. Gets taken out as well by Sean, and gets answered back. Killshot taking out Deadly now. That puts him in man advantage for losing that sledge. That is really rough. That was a rough way to lose it. Killshot getting a second kill, taking out Sparky. That's the 2 top fraggers for Mi5fit taking off earlier on. It's all up to Mad Dog and Mice on this 2v4 situation. This is going to be a hard to win situation now, as these players at Unleashed are going to be able to close down on them.
I mean, we're in a 4-2 situation right now, almost 2 minutes into the round, or less than 2 minutes into the round. I don't know. Maybe I jinx it. Maybe Caster's Curse here. But it seems like Unleashed is doing far better in attack mode right now, especially on one of the hardest sites to attack on Clubhouse. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this could be attacker side Clubhouse, as you stated before. I mean, you never know. This could just be what it is. This could end up turning into a big slugfest now, as Unleashed picks up 4 rounds and Mi5fit picks up 2 rounds on defense. Really hard to say. Either way, though, these walls are getting opened up.
No.
And Killshot getting his 3rd kill for the round, taking on Midas. It's all Mad Dog in a 1v4 situation. He is in sight, but he does not have a great loadout for this. This is going to be a really, really hard situation, as these players are collapsing on him. They surround him right now on all sides. This is going to be very, very bad for them. And by them, I mean Mad Dog himself. He's playing that shield, but it doesn't matter. His legs pokes out and cries and says hello and goodbye.
4 attackers left on the board. 4v1 situation. That was unfortunate for him to have to fight that out to the last second. But man, Unleashed felt it that round. They were on their game. They were taking fights. They were winning those fights. Their shots were on. I don't know. It must be something with the guns. Maybe they're more comfortable. I haven't seen them play before, but maybe just overall they're more comfortable with attack operators. I mean, it could be a number of things, but that was a different Unleashed than we saw the last 7 rounds or the last 6 rounds of this entire match. So looking forward to what they're going to be doing in the coming rounds here. Maybe we'll see a much closer game than we anticipated later into this game.
Yeah, this could turn out to actually be the frag fest now. I mean, we're going back to CCTV, and as I stated before, generally when a team goes back to the same site that they just lost at, it's because they felt like they screwed up somewhere. And that's safe to say. It's fair. You know, I really thought when Oops got that kill on his sledge, even though she got traded out, and I kind of expected her to get traded out, I really didn't expect her to get that kill at all. But when she got that just ratty kill onto I believe Jacob, that was a situation of, yeah, she got traded out, but that just set a big tone. That just set a big pace in the heads of Unleashed now. But they came back, and they answered back in a big way. You know, Killshot especially. He woke up like crazy. He has 4 kills now, and 3 of them were from that round. So him waking up and just taking people out made a huge impact on that round as a whole.
Yeah, their mental has to be a lot higher now, looking at a 3-4 split as opposed to a 2-5. I mean, that's got to be a really positive boost for the morale of the team. So maybe we'll see them pick it up here and get their heads in the game a little bit more. But as people in the chat are saying, you know, Mi5fit, they were pretty aggressive on that defense round, and they were punished for it dearly. So, like you said, they went back to the same site, so maybe they identified that they were being a little too aggressive, underestimated, you know, Unleashed's capability on the attack round, and now they're bringing it back, and they're going to be a little more conservative this round, but we shall see here. But look, all right, here we go. We got Killshot taken out. Now we got Sean taken out by Oops. We got a 5-3 situation in advantage of the defenders. So it looks like just the tides have turned for this same site going into round 8.
Yeah, and this is now a situation where it's played out very differently, but this really shows the Mi5fit's ability to adapt to a team's abilities. They recognized what Unleashed did last round, and they're coming in this round, and they're saying, okay, how did they attack last round? Well, let's prepare for that now. And Oops taking out Sean, but surviving this time. That's huge. That's a really, really big move. And Oops staying alive as long as she is, as Legion, is also insanely huge, because that's just more of those obnoxious, incredibly annoying goo mines being laid around the map. That's intel. That's slowing them down. That is just getting in their heads, because if I step on a goo mine, I'm going to be annoyed as crap. And I'm sure anyone else on the planet probably is as well. So, 3v5 situation, only a minute left on the board there. Jacob, Warren, Kryzen, gonna have to come in big. They're gonna have to come in and take these players out, but they've got a lot to fight through as they haven't got enough control. They've got quite a bit open up on the side of this master side and kind of that construction side. And obviously it looks like a lot of their push is gonna come around that construction side. But question is, are they gonna be able to collapse or are they gonna get collapsed on? Because these players are ready for them. These players are ready for them to try to jump through the CCTV window. Midas and it looks like Sparky are both here. Sparky, funny enough, playing Bandit. I don't know why I find that so hilarious, but either way, they're going to have to collapse on this. They don't have any walls open up, and they're not getting these walls open because there's still a mute on the board. There's still these Bandit batteries on the board. And now the fight's coming out, and Unleashed are losing them so far as they're taking damage, but no one from Mi5fit taking damage. As I say that, Oops takes a lot of damage from a frag grenade. Jacob, well run. Sparky takes out Warren. Now we're in a 2v4 situation. Only 10 seconds left on this board. Kryzen, Jacob coming through. They're trying to collapse, but they are getting collapsed. Kryzen tries to get the diffuser down, but he gets stuck.
Oh.
Up to Jacob, but it's not up to anything because it's all up to Midas's shotgun.
Chaos going in the last few seconds of that round there, but it was looking like Unleashed could have made a pretty decent comeback when they were making that push from construction, but you had Sparky, which I, by the way, find that extremely hilarious. I'm almost willing to bet that that was planned, but yeah, I mean, he was holding it down from you know, catwalk just onto that construction entrance and was laying waste to them as they came. It was just like a kill funnel. And then you have Midas coming in with that last shotgun blast to the chest to, you know, seal round 8 out. And here we are with a 5-3 split and advantage of Mi5fit. So one more round. If they win this next round, I mean, there is no losing for Mi5fit at that point. It's just a straight up tie. Either they're going to get 1 point or they're going to get 3. They're going to close it out 7-4 whatever it's going to be, or they're going to tie it up at 6-6, and we're going to be in a longer game. We'll see what happens. But based on that round, you know, you've got Unleashed going downstairs into Church Arsenal. You know, I think Mi5fit might have this round. I don't want to count him out yet, but I don't know. It might be a 3-7 game. Might be a 3-7 game. That was a different Mi5fit we saw there on the defense round. So
something I would like to point out that we're seeing in a 6-pick here. Jacob. Before, he 6-picked from Yana to Sledge, then he just picked Sledge on the next round. This round, 6-pick with Sledge to Yana. I'm very, I understand that pick, I guess. I believe Sledge actually would have been stronger for this site than he was in the prior sites, especially with this being the basement. Your ability to open up holes around that kitchen especially are really strong. But the Yana, you have to assume it's probably a little bit more of a, hey, we're having issues with these players taking us out as we try to walk into this building. Let's get some of these Yana Geminis going through here to help us out. Let's refrag these Geminis instead of refragging each other. You know, that is a really important thing to do. This could be game-changing for them, bringing this Yana. We won't know until we see it go into effect, as we're 30 seconds into this round now. And as he stated, this is 5 rounds won so far for Mi5fit. Unleashed cannot let Mi5fit pick up a single round going forward if Unleashed wants to pick up the full 3 points as a win here. Mi5fit just needs to pick up one more round win, and they guarantee at least 1 point out of this game, and guarantee they cannot lose, because again, there's no overtime. Sean and Deadly doing a little bit of exchanging here, taking shots at each other. Deadly's doing a very hefty top floor roam here, and they're trying to clear him out, but that Vigil is very hard to clear out on that roam. Deadly especially, but as I say that, Sean proves it's not that hard, as he just shoots Deadly straight in the chest and knocks him out. Good night, Deadly. Sean says hello. Now we're going through here. 5v4 situation halfway through the round. And I believe it looks like Mi5fit has full top floor control. And they're going to start going through the second floor now and see what they can get there.
we have Midas over on Secret Stairs waiting for that second floor push, watching main entrance. And it does look like Cabana is currently droning outside of main entrance, to which she is. Uh-oh, and here she comes. Let's see if we see a little action here. Fight may come out in the coming seconds, and it does. And it looks like Chrysum's going to take a little bit of damage. And it looks like we have Ash now in main entrance. Yep, Midas detects that he is in trouble. He's going to throw down a Legion Mine while he retrogrades back down his sight. And he's going to hold those Secret Stairs. But he did his job. You know, put a little bit of resistance out. Took about a half HP from Chrysum. And that's not bad. Now we're going into 53 seconds left in the round. We're at a 4-5 disadvantage to the defenders, but enough time is wasted that now all they have to do is have Jaeger put a little bit of a lot of resistance there on blue stairs, and Midas or Mi5fit should be looking pretty good in round 9 here.
Yeah, now this is a 5-4 situation, but 5-4 30 seconds and you still have 4 on the board. That's really not a bad position to be in. But they're losing another one as Oops goes down. That's the Jaeger off the board. We're in a 3v5 situation. Off to Mad Dog, Sparky, and Midas in this situation at the 3v5. 20 seconds. 20 seconds to go. Can they hold on, or is it going to fall to the way? Unleashed really seems to be closing on. Unleashed really seems to be waking up here, and they're going through and they're taking these fights.
Ooh.
But these guns are swinging out. They're swinging out hard. 3v3 situation now. Sean on that Zofia no longer can get himself back up. That sucks for him, but that's great for Mi5fit. More of these shots are coming out. This is a Mi5fit round. Mi5fit takes match point now. They're 1 round away from winning, and no matter what, they cannot lose this game.
An absolute frag fest down to the last 15 seconds of round 10. And Mi5fit just puts up such an epic fight there. I mean, God, that was absolutely chaotic. I mean, shots were going left and right, and it was looking really bad for Mi5fit, but they got their bearings. And that LMG just laying waste in that bundle of people coming through that doorway was downing and just diminishing people's health one by one until they just didn't have any time. It was absolute panic. They couldn't get it defused down because all they could do at that point was fight and try to, get faced. I mean, that was it.
Yeah, that was a very solid round. And why we stated that Mi5fit was not out of it. Even though they were down a man, that doesn't mean much. Even though when they went down Oops as well, losing that other man, it doesn't really matter because there's so little time on the board. And you look at the guns that were on the board. You had specifically Maestro with the Alda. That is a terrible gun to have to try to push when Maestro can just hold the trigger down and hold an angle, and you're going to have to push through bullets. It's just going to suck for you. It's not a good time. So that was still a situation where no matter what, Mi5fit was still in it. And that is a big make or break. When you waste enough time that the attackers only have about 30 seconds to push through just kill zones, it's not going to be fun. And Sun Tzu once said in The Art of War that if you leave a maestro on the board with the ulti, it's going to have a bad time, and that's exactly what happened here. Now, we're going to this Gym Master site. This is the first time we've seen this all day now, and this is another strong site. Honestly, the only bad site on this map is Barstock, and that's one you usually throw if you want to get into their heads or you're just trying to meme and you've given up. So, this is going to be a very interesting play. First time we've seen it happen. I'm really excited to see how it happens.
Is that an exact quote from Sun Tzu, by the way?
Yeah, read the book.
He said read the book. Yeah, that's a big book. I don't know if I want to read it. I'm just going to take your word for it.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Looks like we got two attack ops in CCTV now. Looks like, oops, she's going to have quite a handful here to deal with, holding down Cash. Now we got 3 attack ops in CC with the hard wall being open. Oh, this could be pretty bad.
I have faith in Oops. She's one of the top fraggers on the board right now.
Yeah,
8
she's
kills.
solid.
She's tied for first place in kills, but they're droning it out. They're all about to collapse on her. They know exactly where she is, and they're all there ready to push her together. This is going to be a hard one for her. Flashes come in. She's going to be blind for this probably. Maybe if these flashes connect. They may not be connecting. She can see full and well. They may not know that. They're going to collapse on her. Midas gets 2 kills now. It looks like all the players that are left are really trying to close on her, but they're going to have a bad time doing this. Fight's about to come out now. It looks like a frag grenade's actually being cooked and ready to clear her out. And it does. Oops and Mad off the board. Midas is off the board as well. Jacob picking up 2. We're at 2v3 now. Sparky, Deadly. These players know how to take fights. Question is, can they take them? Can they take them here and now? They are 2 heavy hitters. 7 and 8 kills together. But look at Sean. Look at Jacob. They both have 8 kills as well. The Fierce is going down by Kryzen. And they've got to clear through 2 heavy
this is a
gunners. Trades come out. We're technically a 1v1 as this plan's going down, but now it's a 1v2. Kryzen and Jacob are going to hold off Sparky. Sparky's going to come through. I'm sure his mom is watching this, and I'm sure she is ready, hoping her son can pull through. I'm sure she has faith in him, because I do too, if I'm going to be honest here. He is a good gunner. But he's got so much to push through. They know where he is. It looks like a frag grenade being prepped now as well. And it's going to do some damage. It doesn't matter. He doesn't check the angle well enough. Kryzen gets the headshot. That's another round for Unleashed. They're still in this. They're pushing for that tie.
Dang. I mean, unfortunate for Sparky, but at the end of the day, when that cooked frag came through, there's only really one direction you can go, and that's away from it. And he knew that Sophia, or whoever the op was sitting in gym, was there. So at that point, you got to get away from the frag, swing that breach, and try to get that frag off on the attacker and hope that you're not going to get refragged by the remaining attack operator. I mean, he was in a really bad position. So that was a really good nade and good angles held by Unleashed there. And here we are, 4-6. Looks like they are making a little bit of a struggled comeback, but they are fighting with their nails to the chalkboard right now and not giving it up. They're doing the best that they can to try to lock up that 6-6 tie so they can both lock down 1 point. But Mi5fit, let's see what they can do here and see if they can close it out here in round 11.
Yeah, now Mi5fit going back to CCTV, and this is a very, very strong site. As we stated in the past, this is a comfort site for a lot of teams. This is a site we've seen just a lot of play on. And I would agree with what some people are saying. Had Oops played it out of that situation last round alive, that would have been a slap yourself in the head type of situation for Unleashed. There's no reason Oops should have been alive. Realistically, there's no reason Oops should have been alive for as long as she was. That's actually kind of insane to me that she lived that long, because that was a death sentence for her. But if she would have made it out alive at all, that would have been just an awful, just mental breaking situation, I would say. Either way, though, she didn't. Unleashed won that round, so I'm not going to harp on that anymore. 4-6 right now. Unleashed just needs to win 2 rounds now. 2 rounds in a row, granted, but 2 rounds. Mi5fit still just needs to win either this round or next round, and they win. So they're going to really try to close this one out as fast as possible. But again, they won this site fairly well last time they came here.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty decisive win, might I add. So, not to harp on that whole Oops situation, but all 3 of those flashes did not connect. But, I mean, how would they have known that? You figure you're going to throw 3 flashes, you're going to follow that up with a push. But they just kind of stayed there, which is crazy to me. It worked for them. Like you said, they won. So,
Yeah, and it did work out. Deadly actually being the first kill taken off the board, and that's top fragger right now for Mi5fit. That's something you don't really want to lose, but I'm sure that's probably got Unleashed pretty excited. You know, taking out that top fragger is always a good feeling, but look at Oops, look at Sparky. They're not far behind. Actually, Midas as well. They're all very close behind. Oops, picking it up and tying that. Taking out Sean. That's Oops' ninth kill for the round, but Oops comes right back. Picking up by Jacob. Jacob, top fragger on the entire game right now. 10 kills. He is going ballistic right now. So, we're in this 4-3 situation. Unleash is doing a very, very good job on not giving Mi5fit anything for free. They may lose a player, but they take one back. And they're keeping a lead from it, and that's the situation you want to be in. You don't want to just give one, take one all day, which is exactly what just happened there, is Killshot gets taken up by Mad Dog. So now back to this 3-3, but as I was saying, you never want to lose one and not take one as well, because then you're just staying stagnant in this down position. But, not happening, doesn't matter. 4-6 right now in this scoreline. 3-3 situation. A little over a minute on the board. This is still anyone's round and overall anyone's game. They're trying to get a hole open up above that construction wall. So I'm assuming they can probably try to get like a grenade thrown through, get the mute jammer off the wall, and actually they get more than a mute jammer off the wall. They get Midas off the wall. Now, it's a 2-3 situation. Mad Dog and Sparky, they're going to have to hold this down with their lives. 45 seconds on the board, but that's plenty of time for Unleash. That's all the time they need to make something happen. But Mad Dog enters back and takes out Jacob. It's all up to Chrysum and Warren, the two Heartbreachers, Habana and Thermite. Can they make this work? Can they get something to happen here? Sparky, he actually sees a gun and tries to shoot to miss a shot, but now they know where Sparky is. So now it's a situation of who's going to land shots, and it's Warren that lands a shot, as it's all up to Mad Dog now in this 1v2. He knows where they both are. He's going to swing and he's going to miss. Warren takes it. We are now 5-6. We are now one round away from this either being Mi5fit's game or nobody's game.
Oh my gosh. I mean, even in that 1-2 situation with that plant being stuck, I mean, it's hard to say being a caster. I'm not in the game playing, but just get that connected kill. You were at 100 HP. Just sit behind server stack, buy time as much as you can and try to take that last fight. Unfortunate that those shots didn't connect, but Unleashed bringing it back here for 2 wins in a row. They are, again, not giving up this game without a fight. Here we are, match point. Either A, Mi5fit's going to win, take all 3 points, or B, both teams are going to walk away with 6 and tie it up for 1 point each team. Let's see what happens here. This is it. This is the last round.
By attackers.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, as I said, like Z said, no matter what, this is it. This is the final round of this game. This has been such a close game, and so far it's been somewhat attacker sided in a lot of ways. I mean, it's been a very interesting game of Clubhouse. And look at the score lines. This is really interesting. I mean, on Mi5fit, 7-9, 7-9, 7. All the players of Mi5fit are taking these fights. They're all landing them. Whereas over on, say, Unleashed, you have a 6-8, 11, 6-6. A lot of kills still. I mean, a lot of people were taking fights very well. I would say a big difference is on, the side of Unleashed. You got Jacob kind of a hot hand today. I mean, again, top killer on the entire lobby. 11 kills, that's awesome. He's the only one of those double digits. And no one's dropped 0. So again, that's also very good. No one's dropping these donuts. Now, these players coming through. Final sight. It is basement. Unleashed is going to do the best they can to clear out this top floor as fast as possible.
Man, people are they're pointing out some pretty good things here in the chat. First of all, with the betting, right, the channel points, we don't have an option that people can select for draws. So I think what we will do is refund it, and we'll add that as a third option going forward, or we'll flip a coin.
Yeah, that's probably good.
or we'll flip a coin.
I'm gonna start betting on draws like permanently going forward, just so I don't seem biased. Unless it's Mi5fit, I'll always bet against them. But either way.
You said unless it's Mi5fit, you always
1 minute left in the round. 1 minute left in the round. They are clearing through this top site. Deadly having a nice little time in this club, just dancing along, vibing, having a good one, and that's good. Great for him. He's having a good old time. This is honestly the best game I've ever seen. Now these players, they're joining through. He's in kind of a spot that may not be huge, but he can come up on a flank later. He can be very impactful later. Especially as these players of Unleashed are doing their best to drone through. They've only actually lost 1 drone. It looks like Deadly's actually on the pole. I don't believe this actually is allowed in Twitch's terms of service.
I don't think so.
Either way, These players are coming through, and now he's aware. He's aware something's coming near him. So he's getting ready. He's no longer on that pole. Instead, he's holding a pole position. He's getting ready to fight these players out. This is going to go very, very hot very, very soon. They are trying to drone him out. They are aware he's in there. And he's going to have to get himself out of here soon. He does have impacts. He can get a good position. He can get out of here if he needs to. But he is getting pinched. They're ready for him. But look at all the time he is killing. This is massive for him. He is killing so much of these attackers' time. There's less than a minute on the board, and they're worried about a rover that's over here in strip. This is not what you need to be doing if you're Unleashed. You need to be just leaving him alone. Go away from Deadly.
Oh,
and this is
no.
why. Because you just lost your Zofia for no reason. Killshot gets a refrag, but at what cost?
Attackers have
There's
located
40
a bomb.
seconds, and you've got players trying to clear out strip. Why are you doing this? That's not where you need to be right now. Come through. Now you've got to go through, and you still got to take sight. C4s are getting thrown and C4s are getting wasted. They've got hatches opened up. Now, I'm sure they're going to be dropping through, and this is going to be a hectic push in this 4v4 situation. But it's going to be a hectic push that favors Mi5fit. This is going to be a very, very rough position right now for Unleashed. 15 seconds, and then push hasn't started yet. Push is coming in now. Oops, gets taken off. We're at 4v3 now. 10 seconds left on the board. Here they come. All dropping through. They're all coming through blue. Sparky, Killshot, both getting kills. 3v3 situation. 3v1 situation. It's off Sparky. He's just got to survive for one more second. Can he survive?
Oh, no!
Unleashed!
What is
Come on!
Why no? Oh my god!
You just needed to get one more man.
What happened?
Sparky lives in a way that he should not.
How?
What just happened?
Where was the plant? You had two people to hold the angles. I have no idea what just happened, but that is bizarre. That is bizarre. Holy cow, man.
That Mi5fit won.
Yeah.
Mi5fit literally won that.
That's
I
what
can't take that away from him. Sparky. He won that last round, man. He really did that.
Oh my.
All right. Well, give us a minute or two. We're gonna pull a player over from Mi5fit, get an interview going for you guys. We'll be right back. All right, we are here with Sparky from Misfit Gaming, and man, Sparky, how are you feeling?
I'm pretty happy about that. It was a hard fought win. So
Yeah, that was way closer than I expected to come down to. I mean, a 7-5. Yeah, I mean that final round was everything, especially the way the final round went with you specifically. And I have to start off there. I want to start off with that final round, and really, I just want to talk about the final 5 seconds of that final round. How you feeling, man?
um well at the for the final 5 seconds, right, everyone I was basically the last one. I think Midas was down, but I got the kill, the Habana and blue, I think. And then fair, I didn't hear any planting. I mean, lots of gunfire too. So I had assumed that they either were rushing the kill or the Habana I killed had the diffuser. So I just kind of played as passive as I could in that little corner, avoiding all the bullets. So that was my game plan with that.
Yeah, and that was a hectic situation to say the least. And honestly, if you go back and rewatch the stream, that was probably the most screaming I've done in a game in a long time. Because I was positive that was a tie. It was a tie game at that point when it was just you in that like 1v4, 1v whatever situation it was in, and they were in the room with you. I mean, I was sitting here saying like, this is it. This is it. I mean, this is the round. It's a tie game. And then you just sat there menacingly, and it
I
worked out.
mean, yeah, it's the aura, man. That's how I did it. Just sitting camping, I was worried about a guy rushing me like from the left side of the bar, but that never occurred, so I guess I was safe in that sense.
You gonna take the next question?
Oh, me?
Yeah, you, you're a
Okay.
new jump in these questions, fam.
Oh,
Not really know what to say. I've never interviewed y'all, like anybody before. I know that we were like praising Misfit, or yeah, Misfit a lot before the game started about how y'all did really, really well the last 2 seasons. So I was a little unexpected about how close this game was. Did y'all start to get stressed out like as it started going and y'all were like getting more and more even on the round wins?
hey, yeah, I think first game of the season, right? Everyone's like a little nervous, right? They got to perform well, got to make their mark in the first game. So I think that was with us in terms of nerves. I also like we've been on Clubhouse. We've been just reinforcing our current strat, so it's kind of like the same thing that we've been doing. So, and we haven't done that in a little bit, so we had to kind of work it out during the game, some of our rules and whatnot. But yeah, I'd say we were pretty excited to play, so that helped a lot, like in terms of gunplay and whatnot. Having the good feeling when you play the game helps a lot. And yeah, it's overall I think we were a little nervous, and we did choke at the later half of the game with the defending rounds. I think we were just super excited at some points, but yeah, I say we did okay for first game.
Yeah, no, I mean that was great. And as Flornick stated, that was definitely a situation where going into there, even started, we were already kind of praising you guys because we've seen Misfit a lot. We have seen Misfit play Clubhouse a lot, and you guys generally don't lose Clubhouse. I mean, realistically speaking, that's a great map for you. Um, so when it went to Clubhouse, we knew you guys were. We knew obviously you guys had to be happy with this pick. But now I'm going to touch on kind of the elephant in the room here. I want to talk about Deadly in Strip. For starters, before we get to it for some reason working out, I want to talk about what's Deadly doing? And he seemed like he was having a good old time. Was there
Yeah,
ever any call for him to leave there, or was he just hanging out?
well, at so was this when we were in basement, right? Like
Yes,
this
this is the
was
final round, I believe.
yeah. So our plan was, because I think it got to like a minute 30 and there was no action that had happened yet, like no one was dead or anything, that Midas was the collapse on site because he was Rome, and then uh Vigil or Deadly would stay into strip and get a late flank, so like absolutely no chance of them seeing him. I think that was his goal. Um he he's really good at within as our like major roam guy in entry. We trusted him with it, so we kind of left that to him. I didn't fully see what happened up there, but I assumed he got killed or something, right? So
He
I
was
mean,
he was just vibing.
He was
I
vibing.
mean,
Yeah,
a man's vibing.
Well, in his defense though, the amount of time they ended up getting killed when they did realize that he was there, he took out one of the players, and at that point there was less than a minute in the round. In all honesty, when that happened, even though at the very final 5 seconds when it was just you, I was assuming it was going to come a tie. But up until that final point when he did die, I was looking at it in a case of like this round's over, Mi5fit wins because they're on the other side of the map and they just now cleared out this vigil who's over here dancing on a pole. But either way, I mean, that was huge. I mean, it was insane on that, and I'm going to keep going back to the fact of like Unleashed did great today. Any guys from Unleashed, if you're watching this, you guys did great. I want to give you guys credit on the fact that you guys didn't realize, most likely, that this is a map that Mi5fit is insanely comfortable with. We've seen these guys play a lot. These guys are good on Clubhouse. They know how to play it. So you guys go, it's not bad. Don't feel bad. That is honestly great. And so I enjoyed watching you guys. I enjoyed casting you guys on Unleashed. That was awesome. Going back to Sparky, I'm not trying to change the subject here, but man, everyone on your team, it looked like was taking some insane fights. Another one I actually want to point out, and I want to point out Oops. Oops was one that there were some parts with her where I was like, what the heck is going on? Why is this working? There was actually one round, I don't know if she called it out, where they opened up Jacuzzi Wall and she was roaming. I don't recall if it was a CCTV defense or if it was a basement defense, but she was roaming as Legion and they opened up Jacuzzi Wall and she literally just walked outside of the wall and shot Sludge in the head. She died for it from the other player that was out there, but the things that you guys were getting away with were insane.
Yeah.
So I really want to give you guys credit on that.
Yeah, we were as I said, we were feeling good really before the game. So I think for some of the plays, like all of us individually were getting aggressive and then playing past. We were really in our mojo to say. So yeah, and the scoreboard, if I'm not mistaken, was pretty even across the board as well at the end of the game. Like
It was.
so I do think we all played as a unit very well. Like we were working together, calls, and then like we knew when individually we would play aggressive and make our plays. I'm sure Molly was feeling the same on Jacuzzi Wall when she swung out. So yeah.
Yeah, you guys were obviously confident, and I think play there displays that you guys were obviously confident here. I mean, her having the gall to just walk outside of a wall that just get opened up in that way and just take a fight. I mean, that just kind of bleeds confidence. Also, and I would like to say that we say every time, hi to your mom. Hope she's doing well. She was in chat supporting you, and so always great to see Sparky's mom supporting
Appreciate
the
it.
boys. Do you have anything you would like to say before we close out this interview, man?
No, just hi mom. Thanks for watching. I love you. She's in the other room, so I'm sure she hears me both here and in the stream. But yeah, thanks for letting me talk to you guys.
Yeah, no, thanks for the interview and thanks for the awesome gameplay. Again, final 5 seconds of the final round. If I were you, I'd clip that and I did everywhere as a case of just it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
That'd be on my resume in my college interviews or something later on.
Oh yeah, it's going in the resume for sure.
All right, great game today, man. We look forward to seeing more of you guys. As always, we love casting Mi5fit. But you go catch up with your team, do any after action review you need to do, and get some rest today, man.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, that was Sparky from Mi5fit Gaming. We have one more game coming up today, and this is again Exodus versus Tidal. Now, we've never casted either of these teams. We don't know what to expect. Aaron, do you have anything you maybe want to point in on these teams?
No, I couldn't find anything on them. I couldn't find any social media. I don't know if I just missed it somehow, but we don't know anything about these teams coming up, so not much to say there.
Sorry.
I don't know. Have you how this points work in HCL?
I have. Yeah, and again,
Okay,
if you're
okay.
just now catching up for the upcoming game that's about to see, because we are a little late for it. A win is 3 points. a tie is 1 point for both teams, and a loss is obviously 0 points. So there is no overtime again, and we will talk about that a lot throughout the season as people will join in and are needing to catch up. But either way, give us a couple to a few minutes. We're going to get the players from Tidal and Breakpoint. I probably keep saying that along. Exodus and Tidal, I'm sorry. Broad, get a lobby going, and we're going to be right back with this next game.
Understand it, this wasn't the plan. Don't wanna demand it, I've done what I can, and I never mentioned.
Hey everybody, what's going on? I am one of your Mi5fit Minus, joined by the other analyst, Flurnix, and we are HydroCore again. So HydroCore Gaming Season 3 Rainbow Six Siege League. You probably just watched me play the game right before this, turned the camera on, jumped in here, and so now we're rip-roaring and ready to go for the game tonight. Exodus eSports versus Tidal Breakpoint Part 2, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, me too. Especially since we don't know anything about them, it's like a total mystery. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and same as kind of, we saw last night, we knew Chai, and so it kind of keeps seeming that way over the past, like, last night and then today, where we, like, know one of the two teams, and then, the other team, we, like, it's kind of a wild card, so we don't know, but at least with this one, no idea about anything about either team, so super excited to watch them. We definitely heard good things about both teams, especially Tidal coming into the match, so looking forward to seeing, how they play, their map ban kind of statistics and style, and then, how the rest of the game goes from there. And here in just a couple minutes, we should be getting into the bans. But again, just to run it down, if you're joining the game and you're a fan of one of these organizations or one of these teams, and you don't really know what's going on with Siege, so both of these teams are going to ban maps, and then the map that is the last decided gets played, and they pick the sides, and they run into the game. Each team gets to ban 2 operators, 1 attack and 1 defender, and then they're going to run right into the game. Each team will spend 6 rounds on their starting half. So if, for instance, Tidal Breakpoint starts on defense, they'll do 6 on defense and then 6 on attack. From there, the first team given rounds wins the game. They get all 3 points for the league. So, for instance, at the end of 6 rounds, Tidal swings, they're at 4-2, whatever. They win the next 3 rounds. They win, get 3 points. Both teams come out of it with 6 rounds apiece. So 6-6. They each get 1 point. It's a tie. Of course, if you get less than 6 rounds during the duration of the game, then you get 0 points for the league. You know, equal loss. So that breaks down. And again, if you haven't seen competitive play a lot, that's those modes that points are turned down, etc. So you can't tell when you down someone, kill. It's all about communication, teamwork, strategy, and kind of just general order in competitive Siege. So I personally prefer it much better than some of the normal game styles of Siege, but I am excited tonight. They should start bans here very soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually prefer the comp settings a lot more. Oh, yeah, and it looks like the bans are started.
Yeah, so Exodus is going to come out with a consulate ban, pretty decent map, but also a lot. And then Oregon, actually the second ban from Tidal. I think that says confidence than not, especially in some of the T3, T4 leagues. Oregon and Clubhouse tend to be some of those like comfort safety picks. Everybody likes the map, so getting that out right of the way just, I think, expands and shows how big Tidal's map pool potentially could be.
Mm-hmm. And Cafe's going?
Yeah, so Exodus, again, just kind of banning. It looks like a lot of those more aggressive maps, because both Console and Cafe are pretty roam heavy, but then also very like jump out aggression heavy. And then Clubhouse coming out again, so with Tidal, again, banning Clubhouse. So 2 of the most prevalent maps in the pool getting knocked out right away. And then we're going to see Chalet and Coastline go out, and we're back to Villa. So we casted Villa last night, and looks like we're heading right back there. So hopefully these teams figure out how to attack Trophy Statue a little bit better than our team. But Tidal will start on defense and Exodus on attack.
Yeah, I definitely hope to see more downstairs play this time. I can understand like why yesterday happened.
Yeah, we actually only saw, so for those of you who didn't watch last night, only 1 downstairs site picked in all. I think we played 11 rounds of the 12, and only that was only played 1 single time, and 100% win rate. And that was, you know, kind of an analyst caster guess there. So if you want to win the game tonight, all you have to do is play dining, kitchen, and living room as many times as possible. Easy win. What are your thoughts on Villa, though? You excited? Anything to look out for, you think, on Villa as a whole?
Yeah, I don't know. I know Villa, I know you say that it's like defender sided. I feel like last season we saw it be kind of like flip floppy. But I know with like the meta change is a lot more aggressive this time. So I'm excited to see like how they play it, because there's a lot that you can do on Villa. I know there's a lot of other maps where it's like you pretty much and you just perfect that one thing, but Villa, it seems like for every team they have like their own little thing that they do, and it's just like so many changes. So that's why I like Villa so much, because it's always something new.
And I like the different ways that you can attack, because you're right. So like, you know, there's usually a lot of like different defender-sided, you know, setups. But like, for instance, Clubhouse CC, you're either going to attack from CC wall, or you're going to attack from freaking the construction side. So that's like literally the only 2 options you have, and that's about it, really. You know, realistically, right? Like those are the 2 things you have. But in Villa, there's so many different ways to attack every site that manages to still be viable. I think it's super cool. And I do think the meta, especially as we're coming into the newest meta with some of the changes coming in season 2 here, and beyond, kind of we're going to see it even shift even further, maybe over to attacker-sided selection. But again, seeing Oregon, Chalet, and Clubhouse, 3 of the most played maps during kind of SI, and for the most part more recently come out of Tidal, I think that really, like I said, shows how strong and comfortable Tidal is, because we see Exodus banning more kind of the common ban maps, I think, that you see in T3 and T4 leagues. What do you think? Ban predictions, what do you got? If you have to pick.
For Villa, I don't know. Well, I always expect Thatcher. I think that's kind of like a...
So we got Thatcher?
I am kind of curious. It's hard to say since we don't know how they play it all. But I'm wondering if like Valkyrie will be banned. Because I know she's really strong on Villa. What do you think?
I think my other 2, so if you pick the first 2, I think my other 2 are going to be Mira or Malusi. I'll pick 2. I'll cheat, right? For those 2, in addition to Valk. And then on attack, 1 more. I'm either gonna go with Nomad or Capito. We'll see though. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it comes out, right? Like we'll see. Although Nomad's
Yeah.
not a super common ban on Villa, we might see it come out. But
It's not a common ban, but it's a good
yeah,
one.
yeah, for sure. Especially like you see it a lot on Consulate, right? Like that's probably the map you see a Valk ban, or excuse me, well, Valk and Nomad the most on kind of the aggression maps. But in any case, do you have a prediction for who's going to win? Just not knowing anything about the team, you're going to make a guess, or you're going to let it be?
I'm just gonna let it be. Since like I said, I don't know anything, so I don't want to say anything yet. I don't want to jinx
Okay.
anybody.
Awesome. Then I will refrain from doing so too, and we'll wait. In any case, again, this is Tidal Breakpoint versus Exodus Esports here on Hydrocore League, Rainbow Six Siege, Season 3. So make sure you stay tuned. We'll get the players load in, and we'll be in the map shortly.
Unresolved, maybe it's madness. I'm begging you, please pick up the call. You're causing me damage. I should've known, wasn't your fault. Don't even matter. I wasn't thinking clear, trying to take it there. Scared to lose it all. I won't stand a chance, and I don't wanna fake it. What if I can't walk away? You got me standing in the rain, hoping I don't make the same mistake.
Okay, we are back, and this is Flare,
And I'm Mi5fit Midas.
and this is game 2 of the night. We're getting a little bit of a late start. This one was technically supposed to start at like 9 my time, 10 Eastern. But obviously, the first game went over that, and it's to be expected. Either way, though, this is Unleashed Esports. Not Unleashed Esports, we just watched it. This is Tidal Breakpoint versus Exodus Esports. I'm sorry. And we're going to Villa. Now, we don't really know a lot about these teams. This is going to be the first time we've really seen them play. Otherwise, I think Exodus actually used to be called Play Gaming. So we've seen them in the past, and I don't really have much recollection of it, if I'm going to be honest, though.
Yeah, and so the very first ban comes out, and it's actually going to be Ash. So not one you see all the time, but with the increase of 3 breaching rounds, that's going to be huge. And then Thatcher again, a more common ban. I actually, as long as my memory, or at least in the past 3 games, we've not seen it played once on stream because it's been banned every single map. So 100% ban rate for streamed games in Hydrocore at least, and then Cade coming out as well. Another just kind of you ban the Thatcher, you ban the Cade, kind of makes it a little bit easier to get the stuff off with vertical pressure, etc.
Yeah, and if I'm going to be honest, games where you don't see Thatcher get banned are actually my most exciting games as a caster. Ramai getting banned out, and that does make a bit of sense if your playstyle is a little more along the lines of you like to be able to be a little more aggressive and not have to worry about so much utility burn. Getting rid of Ramai is a really big play because he is really, really annoying to deal with when it comes to that. But, seeing a Thatcher actually survive through the ban phase is just, it's great for me. Sometimes not so great for some teams, but it's an ecstatic moment for myself. And it looks like we're actually going to go first floor, first sight here. So no matter what, we get to see first floor today, boys.
They're clearly paying attention to the casters and analysts both last night and tonight. So basically pick us up. We're looking to work analyst work.
Watching these flank cams to really get you set up. It gives you 4 flank cams rather than just relying on using your drones, and it gives you a little more flexibility on those drones to use them for, well, droning rather than just flank watch. And so that is always really good use. The ability to clear out utility with him is also good, but it's really that flank watch that is so good with him. The Nomad being one that also is kind of a passive flank watch in the way of you set it, you forget it, and you hope it does its job if someone tries to, make their way downtown. Either way, though, this first floor site, I'm really happy to see this. I'm kind of curious if Exodus is going to expect this at all.
Yeah, I personally, I'd imagine I wouldn't, at least as a team, I'd be expecting either an Aviator Games or Trophy Statue, but I'm assuming they did their drone work and they know what's going on. But most importantly, Squeaky just got caught there on the drone after he shot it. But they also have the Pulse, played by Ani, kind of roaming pretty far over on Arts. You usually don't see this on Dining Kitchen, where they extend the roam laterally with all their C4 and information off. So I think that's a pretty cool play here, especially as they're going to clear laterally anyways. So kind of a cool move from Tidal to hopefully slow down and get a couple picks here for Exodus, or against Exodus.
And first pick's actually coming out in a tied manner. Vertical taking out Squeaky and Yeji taking out Demonic. So no one's giving you anything for free already from the very get-go here. Either way though, and another kill coming out as Empress takes out Vertical. So,
yeah, it's working exactly.
Yeah, this is what you want to see. When you have a Pulse on the board, and you have multiple C4s on the board, in this case, 4 C4s on the board, which is insane, you want to see C4 kills. That's why you bring the Pulse, period. But when you bring in that many C4s, you expect to see someone blow up today, which is exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, and so far 2 for 2 on the C4 place. They're not even really missing it all either. So I really like that extension we talked about just a minute ago. And I mean, it paid off, right? And they still have 2 more C4s for when Exodus finally get over top of Master and start getting the vertical pressure opened up on site, which, like I said, again, Exodus isn't even at that point yet. Thankfully, they still do have the sledge, but they're not even over on the master side, they are going to do a little bit of damage to Chewy there with that C4 from Asher to come out. But Ani, last one left. But again, with just a minute left, they really don't have that much time to apply vertical pressure and rotate down, especially on such a tricky site like kitchen and dining.
Yeah, and they are trying to make this collapse happen now, and they still have these 4 defenders to clear through as well. And losing time is as it goes by. But 50 seconds, if they make something happen quick, 45 seconds is plenty of time for a site execute. But it's not quite enough time for clearing everything out in a site execute. You really got to start getting a little more hectic here. Wasted C4 from the looks of it. It actually looks like he's going to pre-place it instead. I was really kind of worried there he was just going to throw that up there and just detonate it, but I actually don't think that's probably not going to catch anyone this round. So it might be a little bit of a waste, but Asher's shotgun, on the other hand, is not a waste as he picks up 2, taking on Neon and Chewy. It's all up to NRC in a 1v4 situation on that sledge, and this is going to be a play of the game type of situation if he pulls this off, but very unlikely with only 10 seconds on the board, and even less likely when he gets gunned down.
Yeah, and it just seems obviously they went down 2 members of their team, but it really wasn't essential operators for the vertical play. They still had the sledge, they still had the hard breach, and when you look at it, it just seemed like they couldn't get the picks they needed from the vertical pressure. So they kind of like, hey, just hold up top, we're going to rotate down. And then they clearly either, I guess, just ran out of drones on the initial roam clear, or they didn't pull them in at all because, I mean, great double kill there from Asher on the shotgun. And that completely shut down any chance that Exodus had of making it, even remotely close to sight. And so now we're actually going to see Tidal Breakpoint rotate up to Aviator Games, which, as most of you probably know, that most considered to be the most defender-sided site on Villa.
Yeah, and is a very, very strong site. It's easily the most popular site for everyone to pick. A lot of teams like to really start there, and as I kind of said last game, a lot of teams really like to start in, say, a site like CCTV on Clubhouse because it's just such a strong site. It's kind of a comfort site for a lot of teams. It goes somewhere that's really confident. You can go there, you can get a nice start off, really get a feel for how the other team's going to play on the attacking side. Get an idea, are they aggressive? Are they meticulous? How do they play? Are they fast? Are they slow? And go to that comfort site and really get your footing in. But they started first floor, and I'm willing to bet that really threw Exodus off because it's kind of rare to see people start that first floor.
Yeah, it definitely indicates comfort. And we talked about it, me and Flornix and I, during the analyst segment just a bit too, with kind of the bans that were coming out from Tidal. They were banning most people's comfort maps. Obviously each team has their own quirks, but especially if you're a stronger team in a T3 or T4 league and you can play on any map, then you might as well ban out every single map that most teams would be comfortable on and just play the last one that's left for whatever ends up against your other team, which seems like exactly what they did against Exodus. Obviously this is probably somewhere in the middle of Exodus map pool just because the way best of ones work, but at the same time I would be shocked if they weren't more comfortable on Club, Coast, Oregon, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. But now actually we see the Nomad pick coming in set at the 0, and this could be, like I said before, Nomad's kind of more of a passive operator, whereas 0 is a little more active. You need someone to actually check those cams. Nomad, you put up the utility and in theory, you forget about it. You place it, forget it. So that could be a pick in a case of like they need to make sure they have their guns ready, but it doesn't really matter, and they're just going to get shot in the face and taken out by Squeaky. So Squeaky getting a lead-off kill for this round, and another round that's looking pretty good for Tidal, until Vertical comes through and gets the trade and taking out Yeji. Now we're back to that 4-4.
Yeah, and I do love to see the Aruni play, especially with kind of that, NRC takes out Squeaky and Bathroom. That is very quickly quite a bit of the roam presence here. Actually, it looks like almost all of it, unless you count Empress playing kind of in that top red landing area. That's it gone. So they have the lateral control that they've started to push, and now they just need to kind of get control of landing in 90 here. But again, I love the play of the laser gates. A big fan because again, it just requires extra utility dumps. We saw them a lot on our game, that we just played on Clubhouse, and then also here now, combined with the Jaeger, you're having to see a lot of flashes and Zofia charges being burnt to get through this, especially with an Ash ban. Empress though onto Demonic and now bringing it back into a 3v3.
Yeah, Empress is making a very, very big presence here. She's showing a lot of prowess here. If the 3-0 currently speaking on her kill line, and while this is only round 2, that's really big. And now they're holding down these stairs. These top main stairs are so strong. They're going to have to clear them out, and they do just that. They do manage to push Empress back, and that's great. Get them away from that position, because if you don't clear that Goyo out of that position, you're going to have a bad time. Especially later on in the round, if that Goyo exploding shield stays up, it's going to be rough for you. Now they're going through, and these attackers actually have 90 control. So
Yeah.
they're getting a lot of ground.
And I think it's important to note Audi is actually playing on bottom red right now, waiting for the late flank up. But then, if he chooses not to, he still also has, his yokai drones, hopefully somewhere close that he can deny plant with as well. Vault wall is going to be opened up from 90 though, as Exodus has gotten 90 control, and they're going to very quickly between Chewy and NRC make something happen here from 90 while Vertical kind of holding that rotating those angles up on top red.
Yeah, and we are running out of time now. About 15 seconds left in a 3v3 situation. They have an idea where each other are for the most part, but they still have to get through it. As Midas just stated, Echo's on the board. When Echo's on the board and you're running out of time, this is not good. It's really not good if you start losing everyone to these gunfights. It's all up to Chewy. He's trying to get this plant down. Echo's still alive, though. He can stop him, but is he going to? Does he have time? It doesn't look like he's actually going to stop him. They're going to have to get him with these guns, but they know where he is. They have a yellow ping on him. Shots are going out. Who's going to win this? This is a 2v1 situation. This is going to be really, really hard for Chewy. He's got the pistol out. He lands some shots, and he lands one right to the head. Exactly what he needed. Empress. Huge, huge round from Empress.
Yeah, and little bit of misplay, I think, probably early on the yokai drone, especially with a couple dead players at that point to, give the call, especially when he's in a safe spot, down in piano, art, bottom red. Hey, let's bring that yokai drone over to the air site. They're not even pushing an aviator. The plant's going to come down bar. Let's start trying to rotate that thing around. So a little bit late on the plant, but great use of the yokai, though, to stun for the teammate rather than just waiting and trying to go for a double refrag. Just immediately went into using the yokai for the stun and the kill. So good utility usage from Tidal. And I love the time waste and denial that they keep bringing to every site. Again, you saw them the first round extend all the way across downstairs, and you see fours over and over again and landing them. But then upstairs even, kind of extending a little bit, maybe dying a little bit early, but then with the Aruni gates, the Goyo shields, the Echo drones, Jaegers, ADSs, I mean, just absolute utility dump simulator. And they're playing right into this, 20-second meta that's on its way out right now with the change of gadgets.
Yeah, absolutely. This is exactly in the way of what Tidal wants. I mean, this is exactly what Tidal Breakpoint wants. They're having to clear through utility. They're having to clear through these players. And yeah, they may take some of these players of Tidal out, but it's almost out of a at what cost type of situation. They've got to clear through so much because they may clear through a player, but now they've got to clear through a shield. Well, when they clear through a shield, they got to clear through some ADSs. They got to clear through everything else. And it's an awful life. It's an awful way to live if you're an attacker. But that's what Tidal wants. And Exodus has got to get a little bit faster at completing all these little mini games, you could call them, if they want to win these rounds. Now, you see actually Empress over here on the Frost, and a lot of people, not way too long ago, all things considered, a Frost pick in a competitive play would have been considered like, why would you do that? But now you do it because Frost is a secondary shotgun and a deployable shield. Deployable shields are like gold in this game. And bring a secondary shotgun in the mix as well, so she can make rotates, open up lines of sight. Suddenly, Frost becomes incredibly viable.
Yeah, especially when you consider, if you put the Frost mats in right places, you're either forcing someone to look away from a gunfight or burn utility to get rid of it as well. So it's also some form of utility. But Vertical opening up with the opening pick on the Yeji there, and that is now down a man for Tidal Breakpoint, who's done so well thus far, kind of at least trying to get the opening kill. Squeaky, though, with a drone on him and a wallbang from Vertical. So Vertical using that G8, making it go burr on an absolute tear here across the map. And very quickly, Exodus is on a 5v3, and this could just be continuing the curse we saw yesterday, where not a single team won a trophy statue defense.
A lot of times when you see someone bring an IQ, it's common not to really see them get too much use out of her little scanner. And that's fair, especially in a case like this where you're looking at the defenders. What of the defenders can she really do against? Well, maybe Jaeger, maybe the Mute, but in the most case, she's a 3-speed and she's got that amazing LMG. She can just jump in. You can use her like a fragger if you want. That scanner, you can still get use out of, but you can use her to take fight and have a blast with, which you see Vertical doing right now. There's 2 defenders dead, and both of them are dead because of him.
And I really like the switch, on and off these utility, operators where you see an Echo coming out, you see a Pulse coming out off a 6-pick from a Valk, and then also, now maybe this round not even using it. So they're forcing Exodus to bring an IQ, and a great shot by Empress there. Now up 6-0 thus far in the game, which takes out NRC, and Asher bringing it back even. And now Demonic down. That leaves Vertical, Neons, and Chewy left alive here for Exodus with just under a minute left to execute here on a trophy, with the Master Wall not even open yet.
Yeah, Exodus is having a rough time here, but Empress, on the other hand, is having a great time. 6-0 right now. That's pretty nuts. I gotta give it to him. That's a great scoreline to be in, and there's 40 seconds left, and now you're in a 2v3 situation as Ani picks up another kill. Oh, I'm sorry. First kill. No, there's the other kill. I was kind of predicting it, my bad. Taking out Chewy as well. 1 HP in a dream. 1 HP in a dream in a 1v3 situation as it goes quickly to his 0v3s. Empress just keeps clicking heads.
Yeah, I mean, great discipline here from, just seeing all the different players, right? So Empress and then also Ani and just the entire team here of Tidal, just absolute phenomenal discipline and communication. You saw the C4, and I don't know if you saw it or caught it, but Ani actually got a C4 on the guy on wall. I think it was Chewy on Thermite because of the teammate on the other side of it calling someone was there. So going in, throwing the C4, getting the down, coming back up, finishing 2 off with SMG11, plus just the discipline to sit behind the shield until absolutely needing to peak by Empress. Great structure, communication, and teamwork coming out right now from Tidal. And that is the first time we've seen Trophy Statue be won in the league. So you can mark that down your calendars. We've now completed an entire site rotation, meaning that all 3 sites have been played, or hopefully and/or won, which they have been won thus far. And we're going back downstairs to Dining Kitchen here for Tidal Breakpoint, which had a pretty decisive win in round number 1.
Yeah, and Tidal really showing a lot of prowess on this map. I mean, 3-0 so far going into round 4. This is really, really good. They just need one more round, and they get kind of the average defensive half of, a 2-4 split. So they're at a really, really solid point. 3 more defensive rounds for them to go. If they pick up more than 1, then all of a sudden they're at a great defensive split. So great showing from them so far. And I want to go back and point out Empress again. 7-0 right now. This is round 4. Empress is 7-0 between the 3 rounds that have been played. Empress has shown a lot of prowess in this game. And this has got to be a situation where obviously the players at Tidal are feeling very confident, and you have to hope the players at Exodus are not getting in their head at all about this. This is a position where you really want to stay in your head. You want to stay good, stay mentally clean, if that makes sense. Kind of keep it going. Stay confident. His confidence spells so much in this.
A bomb has been located.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. When players are on it, they tend to stay on it, which is why everyone always talks like, oh man, we're taking this tactical timeout. Oh, and Squeaky getting a shot, and that's actually Chewy taken out. And that is all the way over from Art with now down the hard breach. Exodus is going to have to rework and decide exactly how they want to try and push Dining Kitchen. Neon's also taking some damage here. And Ash onto Demonic, and now very quickly into a 3v5 as Neon trades back out onto Asher though, and NRC onto Empress, now back into a 3v3, trying to take back onto site. Tidal installing very quickly, but down onto Neon's, now left in a 2v3 crisis.
Yeah, Empress finally getting shut down at some point in this game, so great job to NRC for making that happen for the world. Vertical now in a 1v2 situation, 1v1 situation as Vertical gets his 2nd kill. 1v1, Vertical gets Ani. Pulse against the IQ. This is honestly the most ironic in a way, kind of funny 1v1 situation we could have between these 2 operators. But 1v1, here we go. Vertical has been showing a lot of ability here. 6 kills so far on the board. Ani having 3. C4 gets wasted out, doesn't do any damage. So now we're in a position where there's still about a minute and a half on the board. So this is plenty of time for Vertical. Vertical has all the time in the world. And he can make something happen here in a big way. It looks like he's trying to fake this diffuser. He may actually stick it here, but Ani's coming up. I don't think he realizes Ani's coming up either. That's a free kill for Ani.
Yeah, the crouch walk showing its power there. And, maybe Vertical knew that he was coming up and just didn't want to come off of it despite having the time. After a pretty great C4 bait by Vertical as well, knowing that, or at least presuming, right, that, you're playing Pulse, you have the C4 in hand, and knowing that's probably the only thing that's going to stop him in the G8 from getting it. So good early start there to kind of burn the C4 out from Ani. But, kind of lackluster in the end, which again, sound, we talked about it in the after comments last game too. Sound can be a weird thing in Siege, and, just another example of kind of the crouch walk and how strong it is. But of note, going back to Aviator Games, and we're now seeing, instead of the Goyo, at least unless the 6-bit comes out, well, it is, as I say that, the Echo and the Valkyrie, but now the Goyo is going to come out instead. So looking exactly like the initial setup we saw a couple times ago, is Tidal is now at 4-0.
Yeah, and I would like to point out now, if they would have stuck the Valkyrie IQ, would make sense to me. But at some point here, you have to think that maybe we should get the IQ off the board and bring somebody else. I know Vertical's taking flex. That's good. It's good to have a comfort operator. He's top fragging for his team right now on a pretty large margin. But at some point you have to say, yeah, that if you're good at that gun, that's cool and all, but we're losing right now. Let's get someone a little more useful in here. I understand Ash has been banned, but there's other operators, you know? Maybe bring a Yana. Maybe bring somebody else that has some form of destruction capability or something. The IQ is obviously not working out in the way that they need it outside of just taking a few fights here and there.
Yeah, and you know, again, we talked about that yesterday as well. Just the lack of utility that IQ really brings in a utility dump meta is just way too detrimental to be bringing it over and over again, especially when it clearly has not been working with the amount of Valcam's pulse play, or not Valcam, excuse me, but Echo Cam's pulse play, etc. That's been on the board. So either, you know, maybe bring the gadget out and use it a little bit better, or, you know, maybe swap it out for somebody you can still get frags with, but has a little bit more usage in the utility department. I also like, I don't think they did this, and maybe I'm off. I like the adjustment in Aviator games where they've added the Arena Gate and the open head hole walls like we see sometimes, you know, between head holes or feet holes. But I don't think they did that last time they were here on Aviator games. So I do appreciate the team putting in the effort to get a couple different strats in the books and kind of giving different looks to Exodus as they try to figure out how to approach each site.
Yeah, and I love seeing flexibility, and I talked about this before. I love seeing flexibility when it's implemented properly, when it shows that, you know, hey, something is not working in our default strat, so let's flex off that and let's change it. Again, I hate to harp on this. I would like to see the IQ get kind of changed off of and then see some flexibility there, because obviously that gadget is not doing enough for them here. But either way, pick what you need to run and keep running it. We've seen a lot of, I guess, sturdiness in the operators here, and reflects on what they need to do, but we need to see more. We need to see Exodus kind of jump up here. We need to see them find a footing, find an early footing, and this is not the way to do it if you're just going to lose everything you have to Empress, who's going to keep shooting you in the head. Demonic answering back, though, and taking out Yeji, but Ani coming back and taking out Vertical. That's your top fragger off the board now. Now we're in a 3v3 situation. Empress is gone, too. That's another top frag off the board, but it's hard to say that it's that beneficial, but double kill now for Tui in a 3v2 situation.
Time to ring some
Yeah, and you know, I was getting ready to compliment Tidal for the effort on kind of playing for the retake. Asher takes out Demonic, though, putting it back into a 2v2 after a couple quick trades. We have one playing top red as Squeaky gets a good one on a Chewy, and now all that's left alive is NRC here for Exodus, as he has to contend with both Squeaky and Asher playing split angles, as he's stuck, at least right now, in study with both entry and exit cut off by the two aggressive defenders for Tidal.
Yeah, where I thought, honestly, this was going to be Exodus' first round, now it's kind of looking away from that. He's got the Clue through some of these Aruni gates, and it looks like he's using a frag grenade to make that happen. That really sucks. That frag grenade could have been massive, but either way, it's all up to NRC on the sledge in this 1v3 situation. 30 seconds to make it happen, and this is going to be very, very hard for him to do anything with. He does have the diffuser, and that's a really good start, but it's probably not enough, and I hate to sound pessimistic in this way, but it's probably not enough, and it's really not enough. He's just going to get shot at. He knows that there's a player watching. He knows the player very close. They all see him, and they see him with the super shorty of all guns.
Yeah, and that round right there in particular goes to highlight the absolute discipline from the players of Tidal that I talked about earlier. You even look at Ani on red that waits and hides and stays patient, and you know, they had this kind of, it almost looked like a Venus flytrap, you know, where they're opened out and they're spread out. They're so extended that they're like, no, it's okay. Like, come on, you're good to come in. And then Exodus like comes in and, you know, takes the bait almost, and then Tidal collapses from their extended roam and gets kill after kill after going down a little bit, but then bringing it back. And then you just see both defenders from Tidal refusing to peek, you know, and that again, that was Squeaky and Ash just absolutely refusing to peek and making him walk all the way into sight before they even tried to take a gunfight. So good on those guys and / gals, and they're now up 5-0 and looking very closely to a flawless half here on Villa.
Yeah, and this is looking great for Tidal. I mean, we're already at a position where Tidal is one round away from match point. And again, I've talked about this before, and I'm going to keep talking about this as well. We do not have overtime in the normal league season. What we have is ties. So what will happen is that this goes to a Tidal Breakpoint getting to 7 rounds won. They get 3 points. Exodus gets 0 points. If it goes to 6 rounds won by both teams, then both teams get 1 point. So this is definitely a situation where right now, Tidal Breakpoint is looking like at the worst they can do is tie. Because they only need one more round. And there's plenty of rounds that can possibly be played out here. They are looking hot. They are looking really, really good right now. And I'm really hoping Exodus can at least pick up this round so that when they go to their defensive half, they can start going nuts.
And we also, we talk about their discipline, but also need to know of their quality aggression. So they have won the opening kill situation 4 out of the past 5 rounds. So they're 4-1 on entry here. As a team, at least, with most notably Squeaky being their top entry, and Squeaky going again, taking a lot of damage on the vertical, putting him at just a sliver of health, is now contesting with multiple players at study. Not quite going to down him in vertical, actually taking it back from just the clutches of death there, and now giving the initial opening pick to Exodus. Is for the second time this match they've taken the opening pick here.
Yeah, and I also like to point out something that makes me very happy. I'm sure anyone's been listening is understand why this makes me happy. Vertical, no longer on IQ, now on that Yana. I'm very happy to see that. Easily to say on a worse gun, going from the LMG to this G36. I mean, that's kind of a hard change, but a much better operator in the way that they're playing in the sense of utility. Demonic going up the board, losing that Zofia, losing that soft destruction is going to be really rough. They still have Sledge, but that range soft destruction is really strong. But losing your Zero as well, that's a lot of your flank watch off the board, especially when you lose more and more. Vertical, though, coming in and really trying to pick up the slack with these kills.
And yeah, we're very quickly back into a 3v3 situation with still a minute and a half left to go. But again, I do want to compliment Exodus on their ability to, clear out some of the roam here with hopefully Ani, manages to make it, but he's actually going to rotate back down around. But also Tidal on their teamwork and their cooperation. You can see they're playing Trophy Statue a little bit better than the teams we saw yesterday, in that they're maintaining 90 pressure and top red pressure and holding those key choke points, and when one of them loses it, the other of them fell back. And so just understanding kind of what those triggers are for retrograding back into sight. So I really appreciate that from Tidal as well.
Yeah, and I really appreciate what Ani is doing with this Mozzie right now, picking up these pests and bringing them back to sight to give his sight players more utility. Because they're no longer going to be useful over there on the stairs, but here in the site, they're going to be massive. That is great. I like seeing that flexibility. I like to see this change up, their ability to adapt to the round, especially as we're now in this 2v3 situation. All these defenders are on site now, so these final 2 attackers are going to have to clear through pretty well everybody. The chances of getting this plant down are pretty much slim to none. They're going to have to kill everyone. There's very hard way to see them planting. So this is going to be rough. This final 20 seconds is going to be hectic as this starts going in. They have a Rooney Gates to clear through as well. Vertical is very low on HP. None of this is looking good for them. All their frag grenades are getting used on these Surya gates. So now they're going to have to clear through and they have to use their guns. They have drones, but they don't have time to use them. It's all going to be up to fighting. Land these shots. Smoke canisters are going out as well. Fights are happening. There goes Vertical and there goes NRC. A great 6th round from Tidal Breakpoint. This is a very clean game. This is how you play Villa. Tidal Breakpoint is showing insane prowess on this map.
Yeah, and we actually saw somebody in the Twitch chat right coming into the game, my money, Tidal Breakpoint 7-0. So whoever that is, if this was Vegas and we had no idea how any of these teams are going to perform, he probably would have walked out here with a lot of money today. As long as Tidal can keep the pressure up here on attack, we are going to actually see Exodus start on Trophy Statue. So kind of akin to what we saw last night a little bit, opting not to go Aviator games or downstairs, but starting Trophy Statue. Correct me if I'm wrong, one of the teams did last night. So with the pulse play, this could be strong, especially if they roam it below in Kitchen, but he's probably going to need some help, because obviously with a Thatcher ban, Kitchen is going to be a massive point of contention for a lot of teams that like to kind of take and push Master. Although we've really not seen that, at least tonight in these first 6 rounds. We've seen only lateral pushes coming from Aviator games at all.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
And I'm
by
also
attackers.
a little surprised to see we're seeing a Mira get 6-picked over to a Mute rather than, say, a Mira getting 6-picked over to a Pulse. And I know that sounds so petty and kind of like a minor little complaint to make. If you're going to 6-pick somebody, stick the Mute and 6-pick the Pulse. And I know that sounds, again, a little whiny, but Pulse is someone I'd rather the other team have a little less knowledge that I'm bringing, because it might change up the way that they start, they're planning on how they pick
10
operators.
seconds left.
The
Attackers
Mira,
have discovered the location of
maybe
a bomb.
not, because they're obviously going to try to bring in a range
5
hard breacher
seconds
anyways,
left
like
before
Habana,
insertion.
and it's kind of a weird pick. I know that sounds whiny, but
Attackers
if it
are
works out for
expected
them, works
to
out
defuse
for
a
them.
bomb.
That's just my opinion on things. Now, we're going through here, though. We need to see Exodus win 6 rounds in a row, the way Tidal just did. Because right now, Tidal can't lose. They're guaranteed to at least tie this game, no matter what. So, Tidal, great job today. You guaranteed are walking away with at least 1 point.
Yeah, and I would anticipate that Tidal's going to make their way through the map very quickly, just based on kind of their performance on defense here, especially with Exodus, interestingly enough, opting not to roam on the Avior Games side at all. The closest thing they have is Chewy with the SMG-11 and shotgun top red, and then everything else is just focused on plant denial with C4 below and kind of holding down Master from side. So very interesting roam from Exodus, opting for a vertical rather than a lateral roam, but one that could work out pretty quickly here. But they're just absolutely barreling through the hallways. Tidal is, and Chewy should be coming in contact here very soon.
Yeah, what this is about to come down to is a very, very quick execute on this round. As Exodus, as Mi5fit stated, they're not doing any from presence on the horizontal side, and I'm just gonna let that nomad speak for herself. That's a little poor droning there, a little bit of getting ahead of yourself. And that's why the frost is also big. It's really easy to forget about frost traps. It sucks to say, but it's so easy to forget about them. Everyone wants to say, like, oh, I never will, but yeah, you will. Either way, though, it's that lack of horizontal roam presence is odd to see on this map. So you gotta hope that they can make something big happen with their vertical roam, but it's gonna be really hard when all the attackers are already on site and they're killing off your mute. So that's their player gone. Now we're in a 4v5 situation, and you've pretty much, for free, given them most of the map.
Yeah, and I want to take a second to highlight just how smooth Vertical's going to take out Yeji and Demonic onto Squeaky, so kind of turn it back in X's favor. But just how smooth Empress and Squeaky combined the stuns with the nades to take out Chewy sitting behind the statue. And Demonic coming in with a double kill on Ash, and now X is up 4-2 on what seemed like a Tidal flawless game.
Attackers have dropped the bomb defuse.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Exodus is saying we're not getting 7-0 today. And honestly, when you're a competitive player, getting 7-0 is the worst feeling in the world. If you can at least take one, that is somewhat better. And I know it sounds so small, like, well, it's just this, we still got 7-1, if the case that it did in that way, per se. But everything's better than 7-0. So seeing them go through here, it looks like they can pick up. Actually, it looks like Ani's taking a tactical timeout, and I'm happy to see this as well. I would have liked to have seen this from Exodus, if I'm being completely honest here. Ani is taking the chance right here just to stay basically still. Don't give any fights. Don't do anything that they don't have to do. Just talk to your team and think about what you need to do.
Yeah, and I think the time right now is just as important for Exodus as it is for Tidal. This is their first win coming in. They know they have to win the next 5 plus this one to even get a chance to get that 1 point. So hopefully they're also taking advantage of kind of that timeout pause that Tidal gave them right there. And, hey, look, this worked. Let's keep this up. This is kind of how they're pushing. Let's keep working together, and we can try and pull this back just as much as Tidal was, hey, what in the world went wrong? We started so strong. And it just looked like they weren't putting pressure on Master at all, which, again, we've not seen anybody do this game. Both teams, Exodus and Tidal, have opted to not rotate Harbreach or anyone over to Master side early enough on Trophy Statue to kind of cut off the free play that we saw, running around in Statue that really, from by Demonic, that cost Tidal most of the round right there.
Yeah, that was definitely that was a great pickup from Exodus. Hopefully this helps them on their thought process. Going forward, I'm hoping to see Exodus carry this through and pick up a lot more rounds. They're going to need the next 5 rounds in a row now that they picked up 1. But again, this is still a massive uphill fight for Exodus. They need to win 5 rounds in a row now to just tie. And I said this before, and I hate to keep harping on this, but they can't win. Exodus can no longer win this game because Tidal has won 6 rounds. So Tidal can't lose this game. And this is really a situation where Exodus really needs to get through here. I'm sure Tidal, they're feeling very confident right now because they know that as well. They know they can't physically lose now. So they're probably feeling a little in their heads and, kind of thinking, well, we're up this many rounds. Let's have a little bit of fun here.
Yeah, and in comp, a lot of times it almost feels like when the other team gets that 6th round, like that's one of 2 losses you're going to face. It's like you lose twice during the game. You lose once when the team gets 6 points, and you lose again, if they win. It's 7. So it's kind of demoralizing, but hopefully they can pull it back, as we saw just right then a really strong start from them. And once again, we're seeing a vertical roam rather than lateral, either downstairs or upstairs. So where we saw Tidal roam completely laterally across the first floor on their dining defense, we're seeing a completely vertical roam up here in Statue Trophy from Exodus. So again, different play styles, and we saw Flarenix talk about it right before the game started on how she liked how Villa just allowed for so many different styles to work, and you're seeing a great example of that right now.
Yeah, Villa is definitely a map that really has the ability to play almost however you want in a lot of ways. Obviously, there's meta ways to play this map, but you can really change things out to your liking. Now, Midas keeps talking about that they're doing more of a vertical style run instead of a kind of lateral horizontal style run, because Villa is such a wide horizontal spread map, and it's also very vertical. It's just a big map in general. So you'll see a lot of times, a lot of teams will kind of spread throughout the floor horizontally, and a lot of times, if you're playing first floor, maybe second floor horizontally, to try to kill as much time from the attackers as possible. Playing this almost pure vertical way really gives the attackers a lot of leeway to just clear through the map. Whereas Demonic is actually just going to get up this position, and I have to say, that was definitely a smart play on Demonic's part to say, screw it, this is too much pressure, I'm going to back out, I'm going to let him have it, I killed some time. Ani getting the first kill around, taking out Demonic though, as he still doesn't make it away with his life.
Yeah, and you see Vertical playing on his heartbeat detector, but then Chewy saves him kind of in the back from Ani, but he actually got flashed from sight, and that pulled him off the heartbeat sensor, and an unfortunate C4 miss there onto the pillar for NRC. But at the same time, still could do some damage above, as we're now in a 4v4 with a little under a minute left to go. So hopefully we can see Tidal calm down, bring it back, get some soft destruction open, and still manage to go for an execute here. They do have their Heartbreach still alive, but at the same time, they still have to contend with one more C4 and a couple Toxic Babes left on the board.
Now, I'm sure Vertical has to be asking himself, how did NRC's C4 not just kill 2 people above them? And I'm a little surprised myself. They were a little far away, but I was honestly expecting a lot more damage than we just saw to go to these attackers, but it didn't happen. We have 20 seconds left for the players of Tidal to make this execute happen, and this is where normally we're going to see an execute start to happen. They've cleared out a lot of the utility. They've started clearing out a lot of this floor. They started making these angles. So here it comes. We're about to go live. We're in a 4v3 situation now. Chewy gets one, Asher gets another 2v3 situation, favoring Tidal. This could be the match, but it actually looks like Yeji's trapped in the laundry room. It's off to Chewy and Asher to 1v1, and the diffuser's going down. Yeji is not anywhere where he can make anything happen, though, as he got trapped in the laundry room, and Chewy picks it up and gets another round.
Tidal absolutely falling apart here in the last second, and that was almost an easy win if they would have done 3 more seconds of droning or verification to realize that they couldn't go through laundry because of the castle barricade. And if he was still upstairs and knew that, he could have just easily rotated down, drops first floor, and come in. And that round is absolutely Tidal's, and that's a 7-1 victory. But at the same time, it looks like they're doing so well early on with the roam clear out, and then they just stall. And that's why dining is such a strong site for teams that know how to play it, because you burn all this time delaying across the top floor or delaying across the roam push, and you don't give the other team, the attacking team, enough time to set up and execute properly, especially with all the angles that can be opened up on kitchen dining. And we saw it right there. I mean, literally just ran out of time. If unlimited timer, you absolutely see Tidal walk away for that victory. But because Exodus has been playing this timer so well, they just keep coming out with these wins.
Yeah, that was absolutely a situation where had the castle barricade not been there, that probably would have been Tidal round. I'm very confident saying that would have been a Tidal round. But they didn't drone properly or something, and so Buck dropped in there and just walked face first into a castle barricade. Had they known that castle barricade would have been there, he probably would have gone, he probably would have leaped, down over balcony instead. He probably would have gone somewhere, maybe go down Astro's, literally anywhere else. All honesty speaking, he wouldn't have dropped laundry and wasted time, thus causing Exodus to take that round for free. So that was definitely a rough situation that would have been saved by maybe just a little more droning. And that's part of why this 20-second meta can be so painful for an attacking team. That's why it can be so obnoxious for an attacking team at times, because if you make any hiccup on your intel anywhere and you get that 20-second portion, it's almost impossible in some ways.
Yeah, and looking over at kind of the lineup for Exodus, pretty similar to the Aviator Games defense lineup we saw from Tidal, with the exception of the Echo. But again, using a lot of these operators that are seeing significant changes, the opening kill goes on to Yeji from against Vertical, and that was just, right in the middle of 90 hallway, and I think that was from Statue Door, if I'm wrong. But
I believe so.
yeah, very, very quickly taking this control. But you see these operators, they're getting all adjusted. We talked about it with the Banshee, right? So Banshee's going to open up when you get next proximity. Goyo shields are now just going to be a fire canister, so not a shield. And so a lot of changes are coming to a lot of these defensive operators that are staples right now of Siege play. And so I'm really excited to see how that changes, and good adjustments here from Tidal to get on the 90 window to also kind of force those roamers off of 90 and back. And Tidal, in under a minute and a half, now have site control up to the site here, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Chewy almost losing his life in a very, very unfortunate way there. Thankfully, he doesn't get hit in the head, and he manages to make it away with at least some of his life left standing. But still, 4v5 situation halfway through the round, and Tidal has plenty of time here. They have plenty of time, and they have plenty of the map in their hands. Now, we see Buck going below, making these holes. This is going to make Exodus's life awful. These holes from below make it almost impossible to even stay his foot in sight, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's making holes above the common spots that defenders like to play in. And it's so terrible to sit behind that. And we see Empress clearing out these shields now as well. He is actually going in, and he's actually got vault control. And they're going through. There's so much control here. So many holes open up. I don't see Exodus making out of this alive.
No, and just very quickly, we see Empress sitting inside, but NRC is actually going to take out Astra and Neon's onto Yeji, and all the control that they have is just falling apart as Empress and NRC trade out. And so now Breakpoint, after doing so well, is now left into a 2v2 as Squeaky trades on to Neon, onto Demonic. We're now in a 1v1 here as Ani against Chewy, 30 seconds left. C4 still on the board.
And they know exactly where each other are, and this 1v1's about to play out, and it's about to play out. This could be the final portion of this round. This could be the game, depending on who wins this fight, and it is the game. Tidal Breakpoint takes the game. Third cast the game of Hydrocore Leagues in Season 3. Tidal Breakpoint versus Exodus eSports, and Tidal Breakpoint wins it 7-2. They have showed they know how to play Villa in a very, very strong and fast way.
Yeah, and pretty decisive win from Tidal tonight, right? So aside from the couple of hiccups we saw, if you're watching this and you're facing them in some of the upcoming weeks, you really need to be on the lookout for Breakpoint. 7-2, huge win. They look clean, they look flawless. They're winning the gunfights using utility. But all in all, great showing from both teams, but especially Tidal coming out of this absolutely on top of it. Got to be feeling good about themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, give us a couple or maybe a few minutes. We're going to get a team captain over from Tidal Breakpoint. Well, not maybe a team captain. We're getting a player from Tidal Breakpoint over for an interview, and we'll be right back. All right, we are here with Ani from Tidal Break. And how are you doing?
I'm feeling good. We got the dub, teamwork, so I'm happy about that.
Awesome. I'm going to start right away into the questions if you're okay with that. We're going to rapid firing because I tend to talk way long. So first question for me, right? So Dining Kitchen brought actually a lot tonight, a lot more than last night. Really liked it, but it seemed like the attacks some time waste multiple times. And, just especially with your guys last round, we saw the castle barricade and lost. But it's at the same time, it seemed like the setups were really wasting time. What do you think could have changed better on the attack side to kind of speed that process? I think the key to unlocking kitchen is
Just a little more. I got picked, so I was on a cam. I had a pantry, I believe, and I saw the smoke and it's like Post was deep kitchen, and then smoke like he had his SMG out, like he's sitting in the pantry. So telling the Habana to like get aggressive, but because it's his first league, he was kind of like shaky. He didn't want to make the the wrong play or whatever. He finally got the frag, but we lost the time really.
That's fair. And that happens a lot. Losing at a time is a really easy thing, especially in that kind of like 20 meta mindset. I mean, either way, I'm good, man. We saw you guys go up 6-0 under half. We were kind of like, it's 7-0. I mean, I was a little surprised to see it actually go through. And that's not talking bad about Exit. It was just obviously you guys knew how to play Villa. And for my first question here, I like to point out, so when it went to Villa, how happy were you guys? Because obviously you're comfortable.
Oh, we were real excited. Like we played that map like nothing. Like Villa defense, okay, cool.
Yeah, and so on that string, we talking about your map bans. Flurnix and I both pointed out you banned Oregon, and you banned Clubhouse, and you banned Chalet, I think too. All these like really prominent maps that are really big, both in Pro League and then also in kind of the T3, T4 league scene. And I assumed it was because you guys have a pretty wide map pool. So I assume you guys are probably pretty comfortable on all 7 maps.
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome. And then a follow-up question, I guess, to kind of come into that. The other thing I want to point out, my 2 big notes was your guys' defensive setup on Aviator Games. It seemed, I called it a Venus flytrap in the cast. It seemed like you guys kind of expanded really wide, kind of said, hey, no, it's okay. Like, come in. And you let them come in. And then you like reversed, retook, and you retook the site, and you were able to collapse down on them with all the utility. Was that the intention, or did it just happen to work out that way?
That is 100% the attention. Actually, it's more like a bait. Like come on in like you said, and then we just flip the script.
Yeah, true.
Awesome.
And next question I have, and leading off, is when you guys went up 6-0 on your defense half. Obviously you're in a position there, knowing that there's no OT throughout the normal league season. It's all once it reaches a tie, it's over. Both teams get 1 point. So, but once you went up 6-0 on your defense half, what was going through your head? Was there any bit of maybe you want to play with them, or was it kind of a case of, hey, don't screw around. Let's just close this out.
No, I let my team know, like, let's just finish this. Let's just send them home.
Gotcha.
We're not here to play games, give up rounds, toss bodies, play for the win. That's it.
And you definitely did that. I will give you that.
I'm actually all good on questions unless you have any more.
No, that was actually the last question I have, but I would like to hear your input on one thing. Who, other than yourself on your team, would you say is deserving of like the MVP title for the game?
Asher, 100%.
Asher? That is fair. Yeah, we saw some massive plays from him for sure.
Going into this game, he was kind of nervous. Like, I don't know if you saw it a bit. He was the Habana, but I told him, I'm like, look, you play your game, we win. And we win dominantly when you play your game. So as long as you go out there with confidence, like, doesn't matter if you get first pick or you make a small mistake, we got your back. And I support you 100%.
And I really want to commend you guys on your discipline as well. It seemed like I kept pointing that out. Like all of you played very structured on defense and just kind of did what you had to do and didn't get overconfident. So good on you guys for that as well.
Yeah,
Thank you,
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Well, I think it's all the questions we've got. So I'm gonna hand this over to you. Do you have anything you would like to say before we close out this interview, man?
Yeah, shout out Tidal Breakpoint and shout out my team. Teamwork is the dream work. Put the work in, you see the results. Also shout out to our coach. He is in as well.
I believe he was actually in chat supporting you guys too.
Yeah.
Well, awesome game today, guys. You played a heck of a. Take that away from you, and no one else can. So amazing game. We look forward to seeing more of you guys this season.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, that was our break captain. I mean, that was on. They played a crazy game with Villa, 7-2 win. That was obviously speaking of when we've had. Yeah, it was a game, but it was a crazy win. take that away from them at all.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed watching. Definitely a team to look out for. And Exodus, a really hard team, so probably to look out for. Their defenses seem super structured, so excited to see more from both of them this Hydro League.
Yeah, and something I always wanted to point out. This is Texas. If you guys are watching this post game interview and don't feel bad about yourself, just look back on it and think, what happened. Know what's going on in a team. Sometimes they just have a bad day. We all have days where we don't land our shots, and it sucks. And sometimes it lands when it's a game day. It always sucks, but it seems like those are the days when it's in. So, Exodus, if you're watching this, try to go back over it, see what you missed up on, and don't get too much in your head. Forward to seeing more of you guys too. That was our last game of the day today, and I had a thrill casting with everyone today. I had a thrill casting with Midas.
Well, we really appreciate it, guys. Appreciate you tuning in, watching us, and Flornix and her awesome work as well. And Hydrocore Gaming League Season 3, be sure to stay tuned next weekend for more. We're kind of progressing to week 2 of this. So thank you guys for watching. I'm Miss Midas, and this is the casting crew, Flornix, Flarewing, and Z Kiwi. You guys are watching, so see you next weekend.
Later.